Get the club to pop when I come up with the crop. Gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with everybody. We do it. Everybody. We do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Club spot, get the club to pop when I come up with the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with the club spot. Get the club to pop when I come up with the
All right. What is cracking, everybody? It's Thursday. Y'all know what the business is. Welcome back to another Trap Talk session with your boy MJ. Before we get started, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff for me if you don't mind. Shout out to the sponsor, Cold Blooded Cafe. Shout out to Sims Containers also. So I'm going a little too fast here. So Cold Blooded Cafe, www.coldbloodedcafe.com. If you want the freshest, the bestest rodents delivered to your doorstep for $30 flat rate shipping, dude, you're not going to go wrong with Cold Blooded Cafe. A lot of motherfuckers out there fuck with Cold Blooded Cafe. So should you. So coldbloodedcafe.com. If you got reptile eggs, they should be inside a sim box, man. Sim containers are the best when it comes to hatching out reptile eggs. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. Anywhere from monitors to ball pythons. Sim Containers is where it's at. So shout out to Sim Containers. And then shout out to my first local sponsor, man. I'm pretty stoked to pick up this. I don't have it, but shout out to my sponsor, Creative Creature Brewery in San Diego. Some of the best freaking designer craft beers I've ever had. I don't really drink beers as much anymore because of my, Patrick knows about my digestive issues. We've talked about it, but I don't really drink too much beer anymore because of the whole gassy thing. But, every time I do have a beer, it's definitely from Creative Creature. Their beers are bomb. They have shipping details as well. So if you want to get some bomb-ass craft beers to your doorstep, we could get them shipped there as well, man. Shout out to everybody in the comments, man, all the supporters in the house, man. I got some special people up here. Thomas O'Kane, man. I know this is a good boy of Patrick's, that's for sure. Shout out to Black Sun Reptiles, man. What? Socrates in the house? My homie Sock in the house right here. This is my, of course he's going to give me some hearts and stuff. He's a little heavy with the hearts every now and then, but, he could do that because his collection is nothing but hearts and goals. Shout out to my wife. My wife is in the building. Whoa, that's a pretty extreme profile pic there. You're married now, so why don't we, actually, you could keep that. That looks pretty bomb. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, man, shout out to everybody in the comments, all the early birds. Very excited about today's guest. I know for the most part, people who I've been bringing on, very ball python heavy and stuff. And we're going to, I'm going to keep my ball python guest on the rosters and whatnot, man. But every now and then, I want to get selfish and I want to bring something that I want to bring that I feel is special to the table. Because listen, at the end of the day, there's a lot of you who hit me up that have questions in regards to keeping chondros, breeding chondros. And dude, I have not been doing it that long. So I feel there's a lot of questions that people want answers to that I'm almost not sure if I should give to, I'll give you guys from my experience, but my experience is, you know what I mean? I'm barely on my second year getting chondro eggs, and this is the first year it's working out. So I wanted to bring somebody very high in my world into today's podcast, bring him to the table. He's fresh from Texas, man. You don't mess with Texas. Texas with nothing but badasses, man. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Here tonight, we have Patrick Holmes. What's up, Patrick?
What up?
Yeah, Patrick fucking Holmes, the metal of the breeder fucking community. He's here in the flesh. How you living, Patrick?
I'm fantastic, dude. I'm great. Man, I can't complain too much.
Yeah.
It's heating up down here. We got our first hot week in Texas. It's about a month and a half late, but it's here.
When you say hot, give me an idea how hot you're talking about, because
Well, it's just getting started. It's just now getting into the 90s, which is it's kind of odd to just have our first week where it's legitimately hot. I mean, when it gets real hot, you know, it's not Arizona or anything, but we'll get 107, occasionally 110.
yeah, I'm good, bro. That's crazy. I the small time in my life I did live in Texas, in Longview, Texas. It was like I moved there December and I left in May, and it was getting hot to where I was like, bro, there's shit's. I have a feeling shit's gonna be unbearable when it comes summertime. Like it was just super hot. Like I think it was already cracking mid-90s in May. It was just a hot year, I think. But either way, man, it was so hot, and I had just ducked out of Texas summer. I left right in May. So I fucking said, all right, I'm fucking out of here, dude. So I'm a Cali boy, bro. I'm used to spoil.
That's southeast of here, and it's even more humid down there, man. And the humidity, especially in southeast Texas, man, it gets brutal. It gets brutal.
So me and Patrick during sound check, we were speaking about, one thing he does, obviously he has a 9 to 5. Not even 9 to 5. He works in crazy hours sometimes, from what I've talked to you about Patrick. Patrick puts in work. But aside of that, man, you go rescue fucking snakes when they need to be rescued, right?
I try to, if I have the time. And I'm blessed that I have a badass chick that can go do it for me when I'm not around. So
what happened earlier, you told me, because Patrick was late to sound check. Not a big deal. He had a good excuse.
I got a call from Amber. Look, we already have 4 snakes that have been removed and are ready to be relocated, and we tried to get after it last night, but I got caught up feeding and cleaning cages, if you can imagine that, and didn't get to it. But we've got 2 copperheads that are from my backyard. A little decayed snake and a yellow belly racer that Amber relocated both of those from our neighborhood. And so she got a call, or she got a message on Facebook that somebody had a big snake in the shed in their backyard, and she went out there. She asked me to come help her out because there was some obstructions in the shed, but by the time I got there, she had already picked it up.
Right.
And it was a good sized Texas rat, probably I don't know, 5 feet long or so, and real pissed off, and it bit her. And I think that might have been her first snake bite, but it was a pretty weak one. And I mean, the rat snakes don't bite very hard, but I've had some light me up where it looks real bad. You bleed all over the place. But I went over and put it up in a container for her, and I added it to the little collection of relocations we've got going right now. And I got back to the shop, and when as soon as I literally had just pulled up from leaving her house, and I got a message on Facebook, somebody asking me if I could go relocate a snake off of their porch, and another full-grown Texas rat snake. So then she immediately messages me back and says, "Oh, never mind. Somebody's on." I said, I can't go, but I'll send my girlfriend over there. And she said, "Oh, never mind. Somebody's already on her way to come get it." And then right then Amber sent me a message. She's like, "Hey, I got another one." And so I didn't even have to message her. She was the one that was already on her way to go get it. So that's 2 full-grown Texas rat snakes, somebody's backyard, somebody's front yard, in about 90 minutes right in our neighborhood.
So for anybody who because there's people out there it's hard for them to put the fucking 2 and 2 together when they're when they're with a girl and they're trying to figure out, oh, is this girl the one? Well, there's fucking easy signs to look for. For instance, Patrick fucking chick just read his mind and knew that there was something that she knew he was going to ask her to do. So she fucking went and handled it already. Like, bro, take initiative. Like, oh man, those are the winners, bro. Because they're like, you know what I mean? They're I don't know. I don't want to get too into it, but there's on both ends, girls and guys, there's some fucking selfish people out there, and something that kind of helps your world, the other person doesn't always want to support, Yeah. It's like, fuck, what are you doing, man? But no, I think that's pretty awesome. You all good over there?
Yeah. I'm just turning the AC down a little bit, man.
You're like, damn, it's getting too cold in here now.
No. Well, I'm sorry, turning the temperature down. It's actually a little bit
hot.
Yeah, man. I just turned it off, and I don't know why. It's like fucking 90 degrees outside still. So
Patrick's he's heated up for this session. I'll tell you that right now. So man,
I had my coffee at 6 o'clock. That's I'm too old for that shit. That's the shit youngsters do.
Man, I'm just happy I now appreciate what coffee does for you. You know, for my whole life, I never really cared about coffee, didn't give two shits. But now it's like, fuck, dude, it gets you through a lot. You know what I mean? And I don't even got kids yet, and I know like people out there who have kids and just they live by their coffee, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I've let go of a lot of habits. A lot of them over the years, but that's one that I held on to, man. I've been drinking coffee since I was 15 years old.
Yeah, for real. I was always high, strong, and energy was always through the roof. I don't even know what would happen to me if I drank coffee at that age. I don't know. I probably would have went schizo or some shit. Who knows? All right, guys. So enough is enough. We're fucking warmed up. Patrick Holmes. This guy has experience breeding, you know. I mean, you from what we talked about Unfiltered, your snake keeping days goes how far back? Let's talk about that. Let's touch about when you fucking, you know, when this stuff started to become an addiction for Patrick Holmes.
I most certainly will. And before we get into that, I'm going to do what I said I was going to do and give a little shout out real quick so I don't forget about that.
Quick shout out to fucking somebody super heavy in this game. I'm excited because why I'm excited. But go ahead, Patrick. Please drop what the shout outs for.
So my good friend from New Jersey, Mr. Gary Scavino, everybody's favorite ginger, has decided to stop being an old ass fucking dinosaur and actually get into some more social media. Right. He's about 96. I don't know if y'all know that. He looks pretty good for 96.
Yeah, he looks solid for that age.
And y'all might not know he's a ginger, but because he doesn't have any hair, but he's a ginger. And I love Gary. I've known him for a million years. I've bought a million snakes from him, and because we're both that old. And he is on Instagram now, GS Reptiles. He has a Facebook page now, GS Reptiles, and he has a YouTube channel. And he just dropped his third video tonight, right?
Yeah.
This one's on Sanzinia. The last one was about his his breeding season. And there's going to be more. So y'all go check out my dude. And then I just found out tomorrow night he's going to be on the Unfiltered?
God damn it, Patrick. That's why I didn't say I was so excited. Fuck. Well, only Patrick Holmes can get away with that shit. Yeah, we have Gary S on Unfiltered Reptiles podcast. He's the next guest. Fucking
see now you didn't tell me that I was dropping a spoiler there, because I was wondering why I didn't know, but you've been keeping it a secret.
Yeah, especially somebody like Gary. I don't want none of these damn Bob Smiths or haters out here to be like, oh,
there you go with the Bob Smith shit again.
We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, man, no, you know, I mean, dude, Gary S is fucking, like you said, he's hot right now. He's just coming into social media. He's putting out some crazy content. And, you know, the thing is, it's like, I mean, there's really no thing, but I mean, like Gary's putting out some fucking gold right now. And no matter who you are, when you first come into the YouTube world, you don't get hardly any views. I mean, it's just hard to get traction right off the bat. Like it takes a while to get building up. Basically, you just got to fucking pump out content as much as you want, as much as you can. Collaborations. I was talking to him a little bit about this before we went live. But dude, please go check out Gary Scavino's fucking YouTube channel. His link's in the description below. And he's putting in a lot of work in these videos. And they're really awesome, man. If you want to talk about fucking looking at diverse shit and all around the charts type fucking reptile keeping, Gary's the man.
Yeah, and that is if you can look at his snakes and not be distracted by him, because Gary is a good-looking motherfucker.
He's one of the hottest, oldest men in the.
What do they call that? A silver fox? But what if he's but what if they're ginger? Does that still apply?
Yeah, he's a red fox. It was silver reddish. You know what I mean? He has the sandy blonde hair.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
So Gary, real quick, before we get off the Gary subject, you know Gary for how long? How far back do you and Gary go?
2009, which is really, and we'll get to this a little bit later, but I've kept chondros since 98, but I've been keeping them nonstop since 06, and 2009 was when I started getting active in the forums and on iHerp and that type of stuff. And back then there wasn't any of the Facebook stuff. I didn't even have a Facebook in 2009. And so that's when I started really talking to Gary on the MVF, the real MVF. And I bought a snake from him in 2009, and I have acquired a lot of animals from him since then. And if this gives you any idea of what he's got going on over there, Gary has possibly my favorite collection in the whole country.
And that's pretty heavy for Patrick Holmes to say, because Patrick, you have your eyes on a lot of fucking collections out there. You know, for the most part, where's what and what you want, because we'll talk about what, like, your most recent add-ons to your collection, in the last couple of years, or even less than that. I mean, you've added some really sick shit to your collection, because everybody wants to trade Patrick. Who the fuck does not want Patrick's animals in their collection? We'll talk about that. But yeah, man. So kind of talk about, as far as, what did Gary do for you as far as your platform goes? Like, you met him right in 2009. What was he able to kind of put on for you, basically?
Well, I tell you what, the first snake I bought from Gary was produced by Rico, and that's a lot more special now than it was back then, but it was still really fucking badass back then.
Wow.
This animal is so cool that Rico sold it a yellow. This was a yellow that Rico sold for $2,000 as a yearling, because it was just dope. It was a P&G blue line outcross, and had a perfect pinstripe of blue. It was just lime green with a perfect blue, no crossbars, just a blue pinstripe all the way down its spine.
Damn.
And it was SH04084, and it was maternal half sibling to 05188, which is that famous black animal that Rico had. But anyways, I'll tell you what, we can get a little bit more into some of the things that happened with Gary over the years. But one of the first things that I can remember probably from 2009 is Gary was a savage on the forum, right? Like, the forum was a little more intimate. And so there was a lot of shit talking, a lot of heated arguments, but a lot of really friendly shit talking. And Gary is the king of that shit, man. He is hilarious, right? So there was a lot of dudes in there that kind of like would make gay jokes and stuff about each other. And I remember thinking that I felt fully accepted in the Chondro community when Gary Scavino made a gay joke about me.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. So I was heating my dab thing right now. That's fucking hilarious, bro. Let me tell you one thing about Gary. When I was kind of new to like Facebook groups and stuff like that, I would notice every now and then Gary would fucking roast somebody or talk shit,
Yeah.
And I would try to do it too. No, only Gary really has that pass to fucking roast somebody.
He's good at it, man. It's a talent. It really is. But yeah, man. Gary and I have kind of always hit it off, because we have a really strong interest in maniquary type animals, and he's got the RFOC thing going on. But as he said in his last video, and as we've known for a while, RFOC and maniquary are basically the same locality, and it's that phenotype that he and I look at, Western type chondros. You can see them like that in Sorong, Maniquary, the RFOC Mountains. And he worked closely with Dave Prada. He used to just buy babies from Dave and flip them. A little bit of chondro history. Dave Prada used to sell those baby Maniquary for like $450 and $550. And, it's because they were just locality types back then. And I have never seen a red Prada Maniquary that did not turn high blue or true blue as an adult. Never seen one. but Gary and I we had a really strong passion for that line and animals that looked like that, and we both did a lot of work, not so much intentionally, but just by the love that we had for them, for kind of popularizing that locality and that bloodline in particular. So anyways,
So
and that's who I got my product pair from. I've got a pair at the house. Actually, Brittany Williams owns the female and I own the male, and we got that pair from Gary.
now what he means by monoquari and what was the other one? Afghani? Arfak. Fuck, dude. These are localities, okay? These are localities that Patrick's mentioning. There's an argument where a lot of these people are like, that's a fucking bullshit new locality. That's the same, like, you know, because there are people like, oh, of course that's a new locality. Everyone's adding new localities and blah blah blah, right? What's your insight on that? Like, do you really feel like these are legit fucking snakes coming from this area, or like, what's your whole argument with that? Or maybe clear something up that I don't know.
I can talk about locality shit endlessly. Like, we can make a whole series of podcasts about that. And as a matter of fact, I have to apologize because I've been procrastinating like a motherfucker, but I've just been busy as shit. Mr. Green Tree Pythons, the one who's killing all of us, he's got what, 91,000 Instagram followers now or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, not to hate on him, he's doing good, but he's fucking collaborating. He's doing
exactly
what Miguel's doing. But not, I mean, not as sick as Miguel. I'm actually rocking one of his shirts.
Yeah, and so I'm supposed to be doing a series with him, contributing to a series on locality stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to get with him and get that done soon. He's a different part of the world, so our hours don't line up very well. And
he's in England, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think so. And I feel really bad because we just haven't been able to line it up. But anyways, I have been saying for 10 years, probably 10 years, that there are some definite groups of green tree pythons that are different from one another.
Right.
And the specific localities within those groups maybe not necessarily so important or relevant. And the actual exact locality, that gets filtered through all kinds of stuff, man. People on the bad end of it, people have a tendency to just put whatever name on whatever because they think that's what's going to sell it. And that happens all the fucking time, dude.
With a lot of species, not just green trees too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but when I started really paying attention to these things, I started noticing that there were groups. And I thought northern and southern animals were very, very different. So southern is like Aru and Maruki types, as far as the stuff that we can get in the trade. And the northern types, you know, in the east, you've got Jayapura and the highland stuff like Wamena, Bokandini, Karabaga, all that, Central Highlands, Balian Valley. Then in the west, you've got Sorog and Manokwari and Arfak, and you get out into the islands in Raja Ampat, that's Waigayo and Kofiau and all that. Anyways, and then the other group that, while it hasn't yet attained full species status, it will, is the Biak group, which is Biak, Supiori, Padido, Numfor. It's just a group of islands.
Numfor 6. Numfor is I mean, here's the thing that I'm battling. Okay, I don't mean to cut you off, but
no.
I got this Numfor. Okay, I got this Numfor green tree who was supposed to be a female, turned out to be a male.
Imagine that.
Imagine that, right? So I was the first, like, what the fuck? Okay. And then B, like, I've been seeing some Numfor localities, and I kind of see the resemblance. They have hints of blue in them, right? They're just slightly different than some yellow Biaks from what I'm seeing. Real similar to Biaks, right?
Yeah. So they're all the same animals, but you know, and again, this goes back to what people are labeling stuff and whatnot, but there does seem to be a look this with more blues and more contrast and a little more of the kind of dirty look, and like some of the coolest Biak type animals I've seen had the num4 label on them. And I've seen a couple of them that were simultaneously deep blue and bright yellow. Like imagine just your normal Biak that's green with yellow patches all up the sides and whatnot. I've seen a couple of animals that were like that, but they were blue. And when they have that, the presence of that rich yellow all the way up, that means that that is not a hormonal color. Matter of fact, two of the ones that I've seen were males, and they were just, I mean, extremely blue with lots of yellow, and some black in the dorsals. To me, that's a dream, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, but there are animals across that group of islands that it's the most diverse group of green tree pythons, and apparently you can find them even in the same locality that look really different. I'm gonna interject a quick little story right here, since I was talking about Texas rat snakes and relocation earlier, and we're talking about localities.
Yeah.
I want to talk about variability in snakes in general, okay? Because and I'll get back to what I see in the differences between localities and chondros, and there are obvious groupings, and it's legit. I don't care what anybody says. It's not everybody can see it when they look at the animal. Some people have the eye for it, some of them don't, but it's legit. And it's not a coincidence that the genetic evidence that Daniel Natusch got in his broad study that he did lines up exactly with the groupings that I've been looking at for like I say, for 10 years. It's not a coincidence because they're different animals. So probably 25 years ago, my friend and I disassembled a refrigerator chasing a Texas rat snake. And there turned out to be two inside of this old refrigerator. And one of them was 7 feet 2 inches long, the biggest Texas rat I've ever seen. Both of these animals were almost black, which is highly unusual in my area. Almost black, and they had really, really bright flecks of orange and red and yellow. And they were nearly identical. Two really unusual Texas rat snakes in the same place, literally in the same refrigerator. And they were both, I've never seen any like that in that area. So I'm assuming they're siblings or whatever. Anyways, I also, and actually probably about a year before that, I caught this Texas rat snake on a trail that had a really unique look. And the ones I found in the refrigerator were a pair also. And I caught that male on the trail, and then I caught a female in a tree 10 feet away from him. They both had a really unique look. They were this really faded gray, very different from the dark ones, really faded gray, lots of yellows and orange, but they were kind of pastel looking, so identical and different from the animals normally seen in that area. And that I assumed they were siblings, and I took them home. I thought they were amazing. So that's two pairs of Texas rat snakes caught in close proximity to one another that were nearly identical to one another, but different from the animals in that general area.
Right.
Here's the crazy thing. The place where I caught the dark ones and the place where I caught the really light ones, about 300 or 400 yards apart, literally at the same park, different sides of the same park. So snakes can be highly variable within a very tiny population. All right. Green tree pythons are really variable snakes, but I'd say less so than a lot of other stuff we look at. Amazon tree boa, certain rattlesnakes, even the Texas rats I was just talking about, you know. So anyways, I guess I just went out a bit of a rant there for that, but
this is you, Patrick. This is your session. If you want to go ahead and take it on a rant, you can do what the fuck you want. I ain't gonna stop.
Like I said, the chondro localities it's more of larger groups and regions versus specific localities.
Right.
Like Gary said in his video, and let me throw this in there too. The names of these cities that they come out of, that's not necessarily where they're collected. The names of the regencies that the cities are in, these are all man-made names, man. The borders are man-made. The snakes don't give a fuck about what city it is or where the border is drawn that year. When I'll give an example, and these things change is my point. The snakes populations don't change like our borders do. Our borders are just man-made words that don't really, they're not even real.
Yeah.
So I used to say that Arfok is Manokwari because Manokwari is not just a city. Manokwari is a regency. It's a whole region.
Yep.
Until 2013, the Arfok Mountains, where Arfok supposedly come from, were in the Manokwari Regency. But in 2013, that regency got divided into multiple smaller regencies. Parties still in Manokwari. Yes, exactly.
It looks like shit. It kind of looks like this is kind of the best thing you could pull off right now.
Yeah, and so Manokwari is going to be just to the right on that map of where it says Sorong. That's all part of the Bird's Head Peninsula, the Vogelkop Peninsula, whatever you want to call it. Vogelkop means bird's head in Dutch. Anyways, so now that regency has been divided up into at least 3 smaller regencies. One of them is the Arfok Regency. So no longer can you say that Arfok is in Manokwari because it's not anymore. However, the new genetics and the new study says that that's all the same stuff anyways, which again is something I've been saying for a really long time. But to me, it's obvious the Biak complex animals are totally different animals. To look at it's funny because this is kind of a quote from Brian Fisher, and I don't know if he's watching, but I've got messages right now on Messenger sitting here from him that are teasing me. I'd open it up and see what he has to say. But this is a quote from him, but I agree completely. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but to look at a Biak and an Aru and think they are the same species is silly to me. It's crazy. They're completely different animals.
Let me see. You keep Arus, is that right? I know you do.
I do not. I don't have any Arus right now. I have kept a couple of them, but I've got Biaks.
I have Biaks too.
Yeah. Biak lives matter, y'all. Biak lives matter.
And dude, there's so much potential. See, here's an example of an Aru. This is my boy Socrates' page. So here's an example of, you could kind of see, like, it's almost like a bluish greenish, but then those little white dots right there, that's very Aru-ish, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and the wild ones tend to have really nice clusters of white scales along the dorsals, although there's a lot of localities that do that, but Aru is kind of known for that.
Yeah. And then let me see if I can find a good picture. So, well, this is what I had paired up earlier. This is the Numford to the Sarong. So that's a Sarong and a Numford right there.
Yeah.
Which is hard to tell because, it's hard to see the Numford because the Numford has a lot of blue on its face, but you said you have majority BX, right? Is that
well, more than any other one? Like, that's not the majority of my collection, but I have more BX than any other one type.
Now, what would you want to add
to my collection?
Yeah, let's just say if you were, let's say space wasn't an issue and nothing was an issue, and if you were to like start a new project or something or anything, if you could go a different route, not even a different route, but if you could add something new, what would you add?
More Manokwari. It would be more exceptional Manokwari. Ultimately, my goal is to have just, I don't know that I want to have necessarily more chondros than I have right now. But
what's that number? How many chondros you keep?
I don't know. A lot. There's a bunch of them.
How many breeding females do you have? Do you know that?
Man, not off the top of my head.
Because you only breed how many a year?
I could probably count. Let's see, man. I paired up a bunch of snakes this year. My record. Everybody's always like, "Bro, you're killing it," and I'm like, "No, I'm not killing it, man. I just put a whole bunch of fucking pairs together." That's our. A lot of these guys that I know that we breed like kind of somewhat obscure or off the wall stuff, especially chondro breeders. We just have this joke, and it's really true. This is what Rico did too. Rico had like 400 chondros at any given time. We say we just pair everything and cross our fingers, right? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I've got about 14 breeder females or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, I would ultimately like to have just some really exceptional locality type animals, like really, really exceptional animals,
Right.
like Prada Maniquari level Maniquaris. I would love to have one of those blue and yellow Num4 or Biak animals, that type of stuff. But I also still, even though I like locality stuff better than designers, there's some bloodlines that I have a sentimental attachment to, and and so outcrosses of those lines and trying to maintain some of that, even though it's not all pure locality. My three favorite lines are the Prada Maniquari line, the Vinsky line, and and I have the last Chondro that Joe Vinsky ever hatched out, but it was a sole survivor from the clutch. Really, really nice animal. And then the Colorado Chondros Arfok outcross line, man. Shout out to Jason Stevens from Colorado Chondros. That's my dude. Really like
snake.
Yeah. I also love the Ed Bradley Highland outcross line. That's good stuff too. I have one of those too. I've got stuff from all of my favorite lines at the house, and even though they're not pure locality, I'd like to maintain some of that stuff. But ultimately, I know I've got designers and whatnot, but I'd really just like to have some just really off the wall locality animals.
So more off the wall than what you're creating is what you're saying.
Yeah, I have goals in mind.
That's what I'm saying. Patrick's always setting goals, and that's how you get successful in any game that you're in. You just got to keep raising the bar. With the most recent clutch you had, right? Those reds, man. Those reds are just so fire, bro. That clutch came out when? That's your most recent clutch, is that right?
They're 2 weeks old now. They actually started hatching over 2 weeks ago, but they were they hatched out pretty slow over a pretty significant period of time. So
let me see if I could show people this real quick. So this is the clutch we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most dreamy fucking sights I've seen when it comes to hatching chondros. This is everything I want to have in a chondro clutch. The dark red, lighter shades of red, but majority all dark, but different shades of dark red. You fucking can't. Oh my God. This is such a dream, bro. How many in here? How many do you have in here?
There's 11.
11 in here.
Yeah.
Oh man. And those are all. I mean, I'm sorry, I was looking at the picture when you said it, but what was the date these came out of the egg again?
They started hatching. It was Monday was 2 weeks. The first couple that came out though were early. I've never really experienced that before because the rest of them didn't come out for a few days, and there was these two, and it was really funny because this one like pipped on day 50, and I wasn't expecting pips until day 52 to 54.
Yeah.
But there were two that pipped early, and the first one to pip was laying kind of partially on top of the second one to pip, like he was encouraging him, like, come on, bro, let's do this thing,
Yeah.
And anyways, but then the rest of them started coming along after that, and it wasn't all lovely. There was a couple of issues in there. And there was originally 19 eggs, but I want to say that 4 of them, 3 or 4 were obviously infertile, not slugs, just infertile, and looked perfect, but no veins. I ended up with 15, and 2 of them I could tell weren't going to make it, and I opened them up, and they just had really underdeveloped dead babies in them. So
they're already gone.
Yeah, they just never quite. They made it like halfway. One of them made it a little further than the other one. One of them made it far enough to start getting some patterning on it.
But no pips, none of that.
Yeah, no, they crashed out quite a bit before.
How'd the egg look?
Just moldy and wet and wrinkled up and funky,
Okay.
So and I didn't remove them. I will not remove an egg unless it smells like death. I will, because I've seen fucked up eggs hatch, man. I mean, fucked up eggs. So but when the others started pipping, I opened those up. I took pictures of it there. Maybe it's weird, but I think the little underdeveloped embryos are really cute. So anyways, so that left me with 13. And I thought it was kind of strange that quite a few of them were not emerging from the egg, and they still had a lot of fluid.
You said after the first one pips, you go ahead and slit a tiny slit in the rest of the eggs. Is that right, or you don't?
I waited about, I don't know, 30 hours. I probably waited about 30 hours before I did it. And as soon as I was cutting them, fluid was coming out. And they weren't as dented as the other two. Like I said, there was just two that were ahead for whatever reason, and they were emerged already and fully absorbed yolks, and just kind of weird to have them that far ahead. But the other ones, I could tell just as soon as I put the tiniest slits and fluid starts coming out instantly, they just weren't ready yet. So I just let them rock. And unfortunately, out of the 15 or out of the 13, there were 4 that I was worried about. And two of them were tied up in their little umbilicus. One of those died hanging halfway out of the egg. And
terrible.
Yeah, and another one I pulled him out, and he was like that because I didn't know it was like that, or I would have cut it. Another one I found like that, and I cut it, but that means he doesn't get to fully absorb his yolk. Then there was another one that when I went to check him, he like flipped and broke his own off, so it didn't fully absorb its yolk. And then there was another one
in the egg, like it just fucking went like
yeah. When I went to check on him and pull the egg open a little further to see if he was tied up, he just like he was not happy about it. He had a defensive response, and it broke his off. And then there was another one that just emerged without absorbing its yolk. So all 4 of those did not absorb their yolk. The one died while it was still hanging out of the egg.
Yeah.
One of the other 3 died, I want to say a day later or something. And then so of the 2 that remained of those 4, they were really weak. They stayed on the ground where all the rest were perched almost immediately. And they were moving kind of weird, and they're small, and they don't have much energy to run off of because they didn't absorb their yolk all the way. But both of them are perched now, and they look like they're starting to go into their first shed, and they're behaving more normally and tongue flicking and reacting. So maybe they'll pull through, but I've got to get food in those guys early on because they're at a disadvantage after not fully absorbing.
Now your protocol as far as feeding goes, right? So snake comes out. There's even times where you won't wait for them. Like if it gets to that point and they haven't shed yet, you'll still offer them a meal. Is that right?
Yeah, and I like to offer before they shed, although I try to time it, and it's kind of tricky. I try to time it like right before they'll start entering the cycle. This time I did not get to do much of that because they hatched over such a long period that by the time the last ones were kind of out, some of the first ones are already going into their shed cycle.
Yeah.
And what I am basing it on now, as far as the timing, is a tip that I got from Harlan, which is to make sure that the yolk, and Brett Bender just asked if I tried maternal incubation. I have not, but I really want to. It'll be badass. Harlan told me to wait and to check the belly and see if the yolk was absorbed, like the yolk that they had absorbed. When a snake hatches out, their belly's fat, right, from all that fresh yolk that's in there. And one of my local buddies actually had a baby regurge that he fed pre-shed, and it makes me think maybe it regurged because it still had a belly full of yolk. So there seems to be a little bit of a balance now. And traditionally, people wait until after they shed. The reason that I feed before they shed, if they'll take it, and they usually don't, but I have had some take, is because historically with the people that I know that do it, babies that feed before they shed take off, man. They just take off. They have just better growth rates than their siblings.
Wow.
My first clutch last year, I had an animal that it shed a little bit later than the rest. It shed when it was about a month old, where the other ones are shedding at 12, 14 days. And that animal ate twice before it shed, and it went to Brittany Williams. And when I sent it to her like 4 months ago, it was already as big as the biggest ones of its siblings are today. Like it was pushing 60 grams when I sent it out when it was like 5 months old. The thing was a monster. And I was feeding it on the same schedule as the other ones. And the only difference is that it ate twice before it shed, where some of the other ones were a little bit slower to start.
Right. Now let's go back to your first clutch. So, or actually, I think we got off the whole topic on, you getting into chondros, because we talked
how I started
about Gary and stuff and fucking, but now let's talk about the beginning of the Patrick days with chondros and whatnot. You did a little bit of time, right? You did a little bit of time, and you were keeping chondros before you went in. Is that right?
Yeah.
You already okay.
So, you asked originally how I got started in snakes in general, and we can take that all the way back to almost birth, because my dad got me into it since forever. Like my dad just always had snakes, and so
chondros or what, or just all types?
No, never green trees. Just one of my earliest memories is just of a little wild caught earth snake that my dad kept in a styrofoam cooler, right? But my dad had me out herping, creek walking, and herping basically as soon as I could walk. So that's what got me started in it. My first 2 chondros I got in 1998. A gentleman came into my pet shop and he said he had a pair of emerald tree boas. And when I opened up this pillowcase, both of these animals shot out of the literally just shot straight up out of the pillowcase. And I was like, oh, these are green tree pythons. They're not emeralds. And at the time, and maybe still, emeralds were a bit more valuable than just like if we're looking at wild caught animals. Emeralds were a bit more valuable than the chondros. And
right.
I was like, yeah, these aren't emeralds. And I was actually, believe it or not, a little bit more into the Corrales back then. Like I got my first Amazons in 95 from Tom Crutchfield for like $18. And anyways, I tell this guy, I was a little bit disappointed. I was hoping to see emeralds, and these 2 animals, they were both Aru, and they were really, really nice looking Aru, but I didn't really know anything about localities. And when I told him that, I was like, yeah, these aren't emeralds, they're green tree pythons. And he was like, oh, okay. And I said, well, what do you want for them? And he said, just give me $150. And so I paid $150 for my first pair of adult Arus that were exceptional. I took them home. I put them in a cage together. They were being cooled at night because I turned off their heat light at night. I wasn't doing it on purpose. I remember they stayed perched together the whole time. And then the owner of the pet store found out that I bought them and got pissed off and made me bring them back to the shop. And he gave me my $150 and we put them at the shop. Well, the female escaped, and which is odd because chondros are the worst escape artist of all snakes. I can't tell you how many times, especially when I used to get high, that I would leave a cage open for a whole fucking day and the snake is still in the same spot, right?
I went on a fuck up rant with me. I think like in like 2 weeks, I like 3 snakes fucking escaped on just something so stupid I forgot to do. And it's like,
yeah.
Luckily, like I'm, throughout the years, even though it's only been like 3.5 or 4, but throughout these times I've been doing this, I've had enough snakes escape to realize how I should have my room set up. So like, from my experience, you should have your room set up to where if a snake does get out, it's going to knock something over to give you a heads up. Yes. Okay, something's out. You know what I mean? So that's what's been. Go ahead.
That's always the first clue, right? You walk into the room and some little thing on a shelf is out of place, and you're like, where's it at? Where's the motherfucker at?
Everything changes. All your duties that you had to do stops. Now you have to find a snake. Fuck.
Yeah. So look, a little tip about that: always walk the periphery of the room first.
Yeah.
Go straight to a wall and go all the way around the edges. But with a chondro, that's not what you do with a chondro. You just look up.
Just look up the highest point, or like, you know what I mean? Or yeah, dude. I will tell you right now, chondros have been the easiest snakes I've had to find, except one time, one wedged itself between the incubator and the wall. I have like this much. I have this much space between the incubator and the walls on both sides. It's like my incubator fits perfect in this little fucking crevice or whatever the fuck it is, but it was literally in between, and I couldn't do nothing but get a stick and slowly just. For like an hour, like dink, 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 because it didn't want. It probably loved the warm. I don't know. It just didn't want to move. But
my VR Maniquari female got out and got underneath the base of a stack of animal plastics cages that had stacks of tubs on top of them, and I had to disassemble the whole fucking thing to get to her, man.
Whole fucking.
So here's the crazy thing, man. When we moved that pet store, somebody got up in the ceiling to like steal a part from the air conditioner unit or some shit that was up there and take it over to the other shop that we were moving into. And they found a dried up female chondro wrapped around a dried up clutch of eggs in the insulation up there. So the reason female Aru got so relentless about trying to escape was because she was gravid and looking for a place to lay eggs. And this was very near where she got out. She was in the top cage on a stack, and she just popped right up into that ceiling panel. You know, you can push those things right up in a retail shop.
And nobody
popped up in there. Yep. And so
sad.
The crazy thing is maybe she was imported gravid, but it's also possible. Like I say, they were snuggled up together at my house. I was cutting their heat off at night. It's within the realm of possibility that I bred chondros from $150 pair inadvertently. My very first experience with them.
It does not take much for that shit to happen, bro. I have the exact fucking experience. I paired my girl who laid once because there was a traumatic thing that went down with the two that. Anyway, so I paired them once with the Numford, and I only saw visually 2 locks within the 2 weeks they were together. And next thing you know, she fucking ovulated, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
it's perfect. Just all it takes is a time. Snake's ready.
Yeah, and it only takes one pairing too, man. It only takes one.
Yeah, so that's pretty sick. So but that's also probably a crazy experience. I'm sure you're never going to forget that. Did you see the egg? Did you see the snake around the eggs? Or
I didn't get to see it. The dude who did it found him, threw it away, man. I would have kept it. She was mummified. This was like a year later or something. It was a perfectly mummified chondro wrapped around a dried up clutch of eggs, man. I would have kept that thing.
It would have been crazy to see some pipped, but then they were dry too, you know.
Yeah,
horror movie.
And yeah, it's sad, man. But after that, it was kind of mostly just animals that I cared for at the shop. I wasn't really keeping them at home very much, but I've worked in pet stores since my first job was in a pet store when I was 14 and like, I don't know, 94 or 95 or something like that. And I was 13 and it was in summer, I want to say summer of 94, right before I turned 14. And so I've been, when I talk about the experience that I have with animals, a lot of it is stuff I've kept at home, but I have worked at pet shops for wholesalers, importers, breeders. Like the amount of experience and the number of animals I have experience with is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And back then we didn't have the fucking internet. We didn't have I called my guys at the zoo if I had questions because I had already, memorized every book in the library or whatever.
You had to be plugged up back then. You got to know people for sure.
Yeah, and so look, I may have said this on the last pod. I probably did say this on the last podcast. But when you look at guys that have a lot of legit experience, guys like Harlan, I have made a lot of mistakes, killed a lot of animals, or watched a lot of animals die to be able to share the information and the knowledge that I have. And You
100%.
know, especially when you're importing stuff, man. Stuff like amphibians, fuck, man. You'll get a crate in, and every single amphibian in the whole crate will be mush. Like they crash out. They're either amphibians, frogs come in either flawless or dead.
Worthless.
Period. There's no way around it.
Pretty fragile too. So if it doesn't take much to go wrong in that shipment for them just to go downhill.
Yeah, and what sucks is when, like, especially the more sensitive amphibians, if one of them dies in the container with other ones, it crashes the whole container out. It goes toxic. It kills all of them. It
So
sucks.
something like nidovirus or something like similar
It's
what
not viral. It's just that they're so permeable. Their skin is really sensitive. So it's not a viral thing. It's just that they can absorb all kinds of stuff and they rot really fast. So it's just like if you have a puncture in your gut, your system can go septic, or you get an internal infection, your system can go septic. Frogs are susceptible to stuff outside of their body like that because their skin is so absorbent. So it's bad business for all of them if one of them goes out. But anyways, so like I say, I wasn't really keeping chondros at home, just stuff that was in and out of the shops and that type of stuff. In 2006, I bought a captive bred Sorong male, and this was legit. And it was the same thing. The guy came into the pet store trying to sell a pair of black milk snakes and an adult green tree python. And this time I've learned my lesson. It's 8 years later, and I took the picture that the guy brought in up to the manager, and I flashed it to him, and I said, "Hey man, are we interested in any of this?" And he said, "Nope." And I was like, "All right." And this dude sold me. He bought the parents from Bob Clark. He hatched out 15, and he lost a lot of them to a fungal infection because the idea back then was just to keep it as wet as possible all the time, which is potentially dangerous. And he had 4 left from that pairing. He had pictures of the hormonal blue mom. He did maternal, and he had pictures of the mom with little yellow babies hatching out from her blue coils. It was fucking dope. And that sight, the sight of a maternal blue female with babies hatching out, is like one of the things that turned me on to this back then.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was a federal agent. He did anti-terrorism, and he was moving, and he just wanted to keep his one male and both females. And one of the females was hormonal blue without breeding. She was solid blue. And he let me pick which male I got, and he sold it to me for $150, the same price that I paid for the pair of Arus. 5 foot long U.S. captive bred male Sorong, full stripe, black tail.
Yeah.
If you go on iHerp right now, there's little images of all the different chondro localities. The picture for Sorong is that animal. They use a picture of him for that, and because he's classic. So that's what kind of kicked it off for me then, because around that same time, and I still have that picture too of because he gave me the Polaroid or whatever it was. I still have that picture of him hatching out with his siblings. Wow. Around the same time, I started getting on the Bushmaster website and looking at pictures of Wamena and pictures of babies hatching on the farm and animals with solid blue dorsal stripes and all that. And that's when I just decided that I was like, yeah, this is where it's at. This is what I want to do.
Yeah. And that's kind of like all it really takes, with any chondro keeper is like, I've like for me personally, I've always liked chondros just because back in the zoo magazine, seeing them in magazines as kids, I just knew. I mean, I never saw them in pet shops. I don't ever recall in the 90s did I see. I don't know if San Diego just didn't have cool pet shops, but I never recall seeing a green tree pythons in pet shops back when I was younger. I'd only see them fucking in magazines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's crazy is, damn it, I lost my train of thought. I'm fucking.
Well, maybe you were going to tell us how you got into it.
Was I? I don't think.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I figured it out. No, you got me. Fuck yeah, sick. So okay, wait, did I? Oh no, God damn it! I lost my train of thought. I was gonna talk about something similar to that, but what I also want to transition into was that when you look at a chondro, I mean, is it all based off looks that you want to go with, or is it based off localities?
Well, it's looks because different localities have different looks, and which goes back to what I said earlier. Some people dispute that you can't determine locality. Well, maybe you can't determine an exact locality, but you can determine the region the animal came from by the way it looks. There are certain traits associated with the various localities. And y'all excuse me, I've got to plug my phone in while I'm doing this because I'm apparently my shit's going dead.
What?
Can't have that happening. So
I know where this guy's going with that. Not for this, so I'm not dig into that.
Anyways, you know, it's about the look. I've got a thing for blue. I love animals with wicked dorsal stripes, man. Even just a nice classic yellow. You know, all the animals that I have and all the crazy stuff that's over here, that my most popular animal, if you want to look at my social media reactions, is my Sauron female. She was a yellow baby. She was an import, and you know, she just got that classic look and that awesome blue stripe. And man, she's just the one that everybody raves about.
I mean, do you have a favorite, to be honest, or no?
No, but she's one of them for sure. That animal, she's 14 years old and she's just special, man. One of my local buddies raised her. I have 3 from his collection that are all 2006 animals. And none of them look like they're that old. They're all in really good shape. My Vinsky animal is really special to me.
Super. That should be very special for sure, because let's be honest, that's bloodline you can't really get anymore. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the line is still out there. The line is there.
True.
It's just that I don't want to call it diluted because it's been bred to all kinds of awesome stuff. So there's like a lot. There's so many badass animals out there that are Vinsky line animals. But as far as stuff that Joe produced himself, so he had a founder pair, and he bred the male. Then they were imports, and they're Maniquari. He didn't have any locality information on them, but they're Maniquari. Joe Vinsky.
Okay.
And
obviously,
Joe bred that male to 2 females. Got clutches out of both of them, all red. One was an OS high yellow line female, and the other one was a Walsh blue line female. And every single animal that I've seen from the Walsh blue line female has become blue. Every single one of them. Then he also did some half sibling pairings. He even did a sibling pairing, but I don't know that he was ever able to get that to take. But the Vinsky line is actually known because he and Rico were doing some trading, and Rico acquired 4 animals from him that were from the OS high yellow female. And so Rico bred they were prolific. He got lots of babies from the females and the male or 2 that he got from him. And so that's where most of the existing Vinsky line animals are animals that Rico produced or their descendants. It's commonly referred to as a Vinsky blue line, but really, to me, the Vinsky blue line are animals that were from the other female, from the Walsh blue female. My male is from a half sibling pairing. So 2 of Joe's holdbacks one from each clutch. He bred those together on multiple occasions. I've had several animals from Joe. But this animal was the very last one he ever hatched. 2015, it was the only one that survived from the clutch. It was obviously his holdback because it was the only one, and he sold it to me in 2018.
Where did all his snakes go?
He still has a couple. I didn't hear from Joe for a little over a year. I checked my text, and the last text I got from him was him telling me Merry Christmas on the Christmas before last. And then I sent him a picture of his mail, I don't know, a couple months back, and he replied. I kind of was worried. I hadn't heard from the dude in forever, and he replied. And then I asked him a couple more questions, and he didn't reply. And I'm like, I guess I got to wait another 15 months to hear from him. So
that's pretty savage. Okay, so think about that on a regular basis years back. That's kind of how it was. Like, but you can even text people. You would try to call them on phones, probably leave messages for them and stuff like that. But like,
yeah,
as far as getting message, like, you know what I mean, to be able to reach out to somebody and just get information on shit wasn't like not the turnaround was not as quick as it is nowadays, right? It's fucking like you gotta hope the person has the same number. You just gotta hope for a lot of things, dude. Like it's nuts.
Yeah, man. I have some green tree python archives that Matt Morris gave me on a flash drive, and one of the really cool pictures in there is from, I believe it's a letter from Tim Termasi to somebody else, and the guy that founded the lemon tree line.
Mm-hmm.
And it is pictures of animals and prices that he mailed to somebody. Like he took pictures and mailed it to him with a handwritten list of what he was asking for the animals, you know. And I thought that was a really cool little piece of chondro history there to see that.
Speaking of your breeding chondro history, when did your first clutch land in your breeding career?
That would have been 2010. So try to get a little bit closer to this this charger over here. So anyways, 2010. I started pairing chondros in 2009. I was buying a lot of animals. The first two pairs that I put together were both Kofiau females.
Wow.
The first two females. I had like 10 grand into the first, like $9,300 or something in the first two pairs that I put together, which is
I have that. Who'd you inquire the Kofiaus from?
My local friend, my buddy Thomas, the same guy that I got the Sorong female from. The first 4 snakes I bought from him were 2 Lamena and 2 Kofiau. And I sure wish I still had those animals. That would be fantastic, but
work like that.
Yeah, they were solid yellow canary Kofiaus, like a 7, close to 800 gram female and a close to 1,000 gram female, and they were lean. Like Thomas feeds sparingly. These are just big badass animals, dude. Solid fucking yellow.
And you tried breeding them and you failed, or what happened with the breeding?
So I paired one of them with Captain Jack, which is a designer male I got from Michael Hance. He was kind of a I guess you call it famous animal back then. And that didn't really do anything. I saw like one lock. It didn't really go anywhere. That was with the bigger female. The smaller female I paired with that animal that I got from Gary, the blue line P&G outcross that Rico produced, which both of the, like, to me now it's almost blasphemous to breed a Kofiau to anything other than a Kofiau female. Breed a Kofiau male to whatever, but there's so few of them out there right now. To me, like, if you have a Kofiau female, you should be doing everything you can to find a Kofiau male to get with her. Yeah, man. And it's just because there's so few of those coming in legitimately anymore. So, but also the male that I got from Gary was a yellow baby, and it's a sin to produce a bunch of yellows anyways, right? So, but that didn't take either. I barely saw any activity, a couple of locks, and they kind of gave up on each other. Well, some months later in 2010, I just on a whim threw my Aru male in with that Kofiau female, which is even worse. At least I thought I was going to do yellows before as a designer outcross. And they bred for like 40 something hours straight, like just stayed locked up. And they did that off and on for a few days, and then he lost interest and she ovulated shortly after. So my first clutch, 2010, She laid 12 fertile eggs, no slugs. I hatched all of them, and they were all big, healthy babies. And the crazy thing is that I still firmly believe that there was multiple paternity in the clutch. The two of the babies looked just like the first male that I bred her to, and he had a really unique pattern, this funky pinstripe. And two of the babies looked like that, and then the other 10 looked like Aru. So I'm reasonably certain that I had dual paternity in the clutch.
At what point do you realize, like, what I mean? Because I'm starting to see how some neonates look a lot different than others, and that's when, like, like, for instance, it's hard to tell in your clutch because they're all fucking just crazy looking. But
yeah,
in your opinion, let me just pull back up real quick. In your opinion, is that one yours too? I can't remember. Is this is yours? I'm pretty sure this is yours, right?
Yeah.
And you sent me this. Why did you send me this? One of your favorites?
That one is badass, man. It's one of 4 that has that funky pinstripe.
I see it.
But it's the boldest of the pinstripe ones. It has just this really thick black line. And the picture that that your buddy messaged you about, asking you if it was real.
Mm-hmm.
That's that animal.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, check this out. What a fucking badass photo.
Yeah, shout out to my buddy Don Champlin. Don's a really good local friend of mine. And he's a fantastic photographer, and he came over and got shots of that. That was the only one that was really sticking its head out when he was over, but I'm gonna have him back over next week because I've got Biak eggs that should be hatching next week, so I'll have him back over. We'll see if we can get some more of those shots.
So tell the people real quick, at what day was this?
I want to say that was day 53.
Okay. And the temperatures are, you kept them for the most part at what? Throughout
87.
87. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I remember I was talking to you on the phone. Patrick's my go-to if he's available when I have questions about chondro eggs that I have in the incubator. But at what point in the process of at what point in the process of the incubation do you notice, like, because do you notice like how it seemed like it got a little bit wet where it poked through, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Moisture or whatever. Now, does that happen? Does that happen before they slit it, or
sometimes it does? Because they start making scratches with the egg tooth, and so a lot of times you'll start seeing wet spots in the egg before they start pipping, and a lot of times you can see the scratches that they're making with the egg tooth right there in that spot.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Now, at what point, Patrick? Because we were talking, like I said, I was talking to Patrick about my clutch, and I told you that I'm noticing we're on day 41. I'm noticing on a natural on its own that the temperature rising inside the egg box, and it went up like almost like a degree and a half, almost 2 degrees.
Yeah.
Was that because things are moving in the egg, things are developing, or what's really the purpose behind that?
I mean, that's exactly what it is. So you got accelerated development during the last, the final stages of that situation, and that's what why they're starting to actually move. So it's just more energy generated, so it increases the temperature, and then you'll start getting the lid of the box will start fogging up in that time frame too, because the eggs are actually expelling moisture, so they're starting to relieve some excess moisture and absorb the yolk and whatnot, and so all that's happening at the same time. But that heat generated is what can get people in trouble, because chondros are delicate, and I've seen this happen to scrub pythons too. Scrubs more so, that because they have giant eggs that produce a lot of heat and giant baby. But they are also more sensitive than, say, retics or something. But when they start generating that heat, you have to, if the egg box isn't big enough to where it doesn't make a significant difference, then you have to either increase ventilation or continually open the tub up, which effectively increases ventilation, and lets off the heat. Or you have to actually turn down the temperature in the incubator.
Yeah.
Some people get away with doing straight bake at a relatively low temperature, but if you have too many eggs in too big of a box or too small of a box, like there's an actual egg mass to box size ratio that's like suitable or whatever. But if you have too many eggs in too small of a box and you don't relieve excess heat and you're cooking them at, anything above 87, really, you're liable to lose babies because of it. They will overheat and die.
Here's my like insight on that, because if you think about it, when a snake's coiled around her eggs, she's not fucking sitting still the entire fucking time. There's times where she's moving around, and if you think about it, as she's like, let's say she's adjusting her body, there's air ventilation going through whatever crack that she's adjusting her body to, right? So, and I'm sure she even feels as she's on her eggs that as they get warmer, I guarantee she does something where she either creates some sort of like, you know what I mean? So it's so right what you say. Going straight bake does not make any sense. Not to tear anyone down who does that, but in my perspective, you're fucking the eggs over by doing that, because
or at least like I said, at least manually relieving some of the heat. Yeah. Right. So, and you're exactly right. That's what a female is going to do. She's going to start loosening her coils and letting off the excess heat and the excess moisture. Mm-hmm. And look, man, a lot of people are real obsessed about what their eggs look like in the incubator. They want these pretty white eggs, and it is not fucking like that inside of those coils. When a female's doing maternal, those eggs look fucked up by the time they hatch. You got ones that go bad in there and all kinds of stuff. Now, somebody just posted, it might have been Brett Bender if he's still watching.
He should be in here.
He just posted some eggs that were bad in a clump, some kind of python eggs that were going bad, and talking about how they were not affecting the surrounding eggs.
Right.
And that also goes back, though, to what we've talked about with females leaving out eggs that are bad. Yeah, right off the bat. But at the same time, I have seen maternal clutches with eggs that went bad and didn't affect. Yeah, these eggs are way tougher than we give them credit for.
Yeah,
when somebody, there's just other factors when eggs can go bad. Like if you incubate two clutches in the hey Brett, if you incubate two clutches in the exact same parameters and one of them crashes out, it's either because there was way more egg mass in there and they got too hot at the end, or if they crash out early, it's because they just weren't fucking meant to be. A lot of people want to say, oh, what did I do wrong? You might not have done anything wrong. Sometimes eggs look totally normal, they candle totally normal, and then 5 days in, they just all get wet and mold over and die. There was something else going on there.
Yeah, man. The good thing with my strategy this year with chondro eggs inside the incubator is I'm not fucking worried about looking at them like every fucking hour of the day. I check temps in the morning and at night, and I keep it moving. So it does feel cool that they're on like on day 41. Doesn't really feel like it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, man, like I'm noticing every temperature spike. I notice when shit is not right at least twice a day. You know what I mean? Because that's all it takes. All it takes is let's say somebody likes to check their eggs once a week. There's so much that could go wrong in that fucking week. You have no idea. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially with temperatures and stuff like that. Thermostats could get funky, like we were talking about and shit. So I don't trust technology. I really don't. You know what I mean? I'm more of a visual person. You know what I mean? So I just feel like, you're right about people overthinking how strong these eggs are. You know what I mean? Because they're like you said, in the wild, when the mom's wrapped around these eggs, there's snakes that come out of eggs that look like fucking dog shit. You know what I mean? Like, so it's wild. What's crazy, what you're telling me is how one bad egg won't ruin a clutch, right?
Yeah.
But what
But
about
not necessarily? Not
huh?
necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Usually not. Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen some situations. Look, when I like to arrange my eggs touching one another in the sim boxes. Shout out to John. I use sim boxes too.
Yeah.
Um, and I could be wrong about this, but to my knowledge, I was the first person in the United States to hatch a chondro in a sim box. But uh, I arrange the eggs touching one another, but if one of them starts molding over, I separate it by a little bit and hit it with a little bit of that powder. And I have seen mold spread to an adjacent egg, but the funny thing is that if you have mold from a bad egg spreading to a good egg, and you hit both of them with the antifungal powder, the fungus on the good egg will die real easily, but it just keeps coming back on the bad one.
Yeah.
So just goes back to the good eggs are stronger than we think they are. And on that subject, my Biak female left 5 eggs out of her pile, and all 5 of them started denting up earlier and molding. But they all still candled right with the other ones as far as what the development looked like. So we'll see next week what happens with those guys.
Because where you at? You have more eggs in the incubator.
Yeah, I've got 14 pure Biak eggs in there they're on day I don't know. Man, what is the date today?
Today's the 4th.
It's my 420 clutch, dude. So
Damn, I got 14.
yeah.
Oh wait, I was 4 days after you. What? You don't have an update pick of your clutch? Because I know you're in your quarantine room right now. I know that, but where's your clutch isn't near you, right? Your incubator's in a different area, right? Where'd he go? Jesus. I was looking down, and now he's gone. Patrick Holmes. He'll come back. Man, this is a great episode, though. I'm telling you, I'm bringing some crazy green tree python fucking heat to the table. He's back. Told you.
Oh, sorry.
What's up, player?
Yeah, just got a little disconnected there. So you're asking? I don't have any pictures of the. Oh wait, which clutch are you talking about that I have an update
14
of?
that's rocking right now, because I just you have 14 that's in the incubator from 420, right?
Yeah, no, I don't have any pictures of them. I probably should take another picture right before they hatch, but
can I show my
show them what?
Can I show my eggs real quick to the peeps?
Yeah,
So these are the eggs. I had Patrick. I showed Patrick my eggs. This is from yesterday, day 40. A little bit of denting. I had a little bit of concerns with the top right one, or I don't know if it's top left to you, but the one that has a little bit of moisture or whatever that looks like on top of the egg. I did put a little bit of foot fungal powder on that. But dude, it's funny because you asked me if there's any moisture around the tub, and there really wasn't on this day. Today, there's a moisture all around the fucking side of the tubs.
Yeah.
So day 41 or something like that. So
yeah, I get in there and I start wiping that lid every day, and that relieves a little bit of heat. When you're in there doing that, so. But I wipe the lid so it doesn't drip on the eggs. I just kind of play it by ear, and if the condensation builds up enough where it looks like it might drip, I pop that lid off and wipe it down.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any no water driplets or anything up top. Everything's starting to build from the sides right now. So, but I know what you mean because you definitely don't want a chondro egg to get wet too soon.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I forgot who it was. I think it was Drew. I forget his last name, but some chondro keeper posted a picture of a neonate busting out of an egg that was like rotted. Like this egg looked like dog shit, and there was the head poking out. Let me see if I could find it real quick. How many of those have you actually had? How many eggs that look like dog shit you didn't think that were gonna pull through that actually pulled through?
With chondros, none. Wow. I've had some eggs hatched that had a little bit of mold on them or whatever. And I've seen lots of pictures of crazy looking chondro eggs. One time, this is an extreme example.
There it is. All right, hold on. I don't mean to cut you off, but here.
No.
So that's the egg, right? That was the
Mhm.
egg. I forget what day that was on. And this is like
Yeah,
you
wasn't that David
know,
that
David. It
posted
could
that?
have been David Bram or something like that. I forget. But here,
Yeah.
this is the outcome.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's nuts.
Yeah, the first one I ever saw was a picture that Will Bird posted of a baby hatching out of an egg that was completely covered in like fuzzy black and orange mold.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, like I say, this is a bit of an extreme example, but in 2009, I had some bull snake eggs incubating, and one of them was literally completely black. It was completely covered in like a carpet of black mold. It was hard to the touch. It was folded in half like a taco shell. And we decided to open that egg up because I wanted to see how far along in the development the baby had made it before it died because the egg had candled well. And I cut that egg open, and a perfect living embryo bull snake slid right out into my hand. And
Damn.
yeah, dude. And I was, while it was really cool and fascinating, I was devastated, man, because the egg looked terrible, but the baby was doing just fine, man. And it was developed enough that it was starting to get scale formation, but it was still clear, and I could see its little heart beating and its lung pumping or trying to pump because it came out, and just it died right there in my hand, man, which sucked. But that's why I won't throw out an egg if it doesn't smell like death.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true story, man. I mean, I went ahead and just played the safe route like you told me, because in my situation with my chondro is I was talking to Pedro and he was like, "Oh man, you should probably put the smaller," because it was perfect timing. I had her regular water dish in there. And then Pedro's like, "Why don't you just put a smaller one just to be safe, like a 3-ounce deli cup, right?" And so I put a smaller 3-ounce deli cup in there. And then that night she fucking coiled around it and she laid 3 eggs directly in that water cup.
Yeah.
And like I think I came in perfect timing. I woke up at like 4 a.m. in the morning and I had just had a feeling. I walk in, I see her around eggs, and the eggs were really, really warm. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I noticed, I was like, at first I thought she had like 20 something eggs because how big she looked on top of them, but that's because she was laying on top of the fucking deli cup. You know what I mean? So it just made her look a lot bigger. So as soon as I got her off, she had 3 directly in the cup, and then a couple got wet around it. And I think he told me put those in a separate box, like immediately, right? The ones that got wet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I think I said separate them, as in, like, I don't know if I specified a separate box, but definitely away from, even if you use them in the same box, away from the other eggs, because they're liable to start molding over real quick like that.
yeah, so I only have 2 left out of those 5. They look like
Mhm.
shit. I don't even know. I'm just leaving them. I'm not smelling any death. I don't smell anything that's, you know, but ever since I got my new sim box containers, and I had my 9 that are solid in sim box already, and then the other one, I only had 1 sim box. The other ones were in this other one that I made an egg box, right? And they were doing okay, but then I transferred them into a sim box, and literally overnight they went to fucking shit. They I don't know. I think it was probably bad to switch the box or put him
Move
in.
them,
Yeah, I should
possibly.
just left them maybe, but I figured fucking sim box, you know what I mean? But in that position, I think they were already kind of in their own setting, right? Or probably
Yeah.
it probably just the atmosphere switched a little bit too fast, probably, and that's probably why they went.
Yeah.
But we'll see what
I'm
happens.
uh, I'm anxious to use my new boxes. I got
Ooh,
those.
the XLs,
Yeah, yeah, those polycarbonates, man. That's good
dude, they
stuff.
are clean. Do I have mine right here? Oh, I usually floss them, but dude, they are so fucking sick because the original sim box I got is more the cloudy. It has the cloudy look
Yeah.
where you can see through it. But those work fucking just as fine too. But they don't make those ones no more. Now they make the ones where it's
No.
crystal clear. You could see right through it. I was like, oh, I need a small one because green tree python eggs are small. But no, man, if you go the XL, it's perfect because you could just use that whole box. You could put perches in there eventually and use that whole box for them to fucking just be ready to rock, right?
That's all I've ever. That's all. Yes, and that's all I've ever used is the XLs. And that also goes back to the egg mass to box size ratio. In those small boxes, you'll get a lot of excess heat in that little box if you have too many eggs of a certain size in there. And that polycarbonate is going to be longer lasting, and it's going to hold heat better.
Yeah.
And I'd say they're all around tougher, but I would imagine you probably don't want to drop one of those, at least compared to the other ones. But hopefully I'll have another clutch of chondros this season or this part of the year. There's not really a season, but I do still have a couple pairs going. So hopefully I'll have some chondro eggs to try out in those, and hopefully I'll have some Brettles python eggs. One of my 2 Brettles girls, she's got something going on. She's an old girl, and I never saw any actual locks, so she may be full of slugs, but she's about to drop something she just shed a few days ago.
So let's I don't know if you actually got this number in, but how many possibility chondro clutches are you looking at this year?
Well, so I've already had 2 good clutches and 2 shit clutches. Okay. And then there are
2 for 2.
I mean, look, females that bred last year could just decide to ovulate at any point in time, so but I'm not expecting any of that. I'm not expecting anything else. There's one pair that, while I haven't seen any locks with them, the female is definitely developing. I've seen a lot of courtship, and I'm not always at home. I'm over at Amber's about half the time. And you can ask Ian when Ian came over to look at my stuff. We had to go to 2 different houses to check stuff out, but I've got snakes in 4 different places. And so with my adults, I'm not always, they're low maintenance. I'm not always seeing what they have going on. Hopefully I got some locks with them. The female is looking pale and she's thick, but she's still eating. I've got another couple that are, that have been breeding, but they're not showing any signs that they're headed in the right direction. It's easy to get them to lock up. That's the easy part. Throwing pairs together and getting them to breed, it's not good.
I feel like it gets like the easiest is in the beginning, and then as you progress, it's like, all right, you're leveling up, like Jumanji level 2, Jumanji level 3, Jumanji level 4.
Harder and then harder.
The Hornet level, when you're just like, oh my god, these white eggs just went to fucking brown out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, when you the all of that is great. Like you got all these steps, and they are harder and harder to achieve. A lot of these people get into breeding chondros and think that like they're just going to buy animals and put them together and get babies. No. In Maxwell's book, he says a good group to start with is 2.3 animals, 2 males, 3 females, to possibly get 1 clutch of chondros. And that's about where it's at. Look, Rico was unquestionably the most successful private breeder of green tree pythons ever. Nobody's even gotten close to what that dude was doing. Arguably Rob Worrell, but we'll talk about things that are actually on record. So Rico definitely was more consistent than anybody else. There's only been, to my knowledge, maybe 3 or 4 guys that have ever privately produced over 1,000 green tree pythons. So, but Rico had a ton of animals. And Gary told me something that Rico told him, and I know this is how Rico played it, is that it's a numbers game, and you got to have a lot of adults if you want to just consistently have chondro eggs. That's just what it is. Some people get lucky. Some people are just really good. My local friends, Sabrina and Jen with Lottery Reptiles, little shout out. I think we all know who they are by now. They were successful with their first 4 attempted pairings. Their first 4. That's probably like a chondro world record.
It doesn't happen all the time.
It never happens. No, it's just not all the time. It never fucking happens like that. Nobody ever does that.
But with any species, you got to understand people who have like 30, 40, 50 clutches, and I'm talking majority ball python people, right?
Yeah.
They're not fucking pairing 30, 40, 50 snakes. They're pairing like 100 plus fucking, plus how many females? At the end of the day, life is all about numbers. It's a fucking numbers game, bro.
Yeah.
It's about how much you put in to get the results as far as expectations. But at the end of the day, if you don't have healthy animals, if you don't have thriving animals, it's not going to work with you more than likely at all.
Yeah,
so,
and green tree pythons are not. This is just the most important thing that you can realize about their care. Green tree pythons, as far as husbandry goes, when you have a healthy captive bred animal, or even a really well established import, but especially a healthy captive bred animal, there is not another snake that's easier or more low maintenance. They're not difficult to care for by any means. Breeding can be a totally different thing. Breeding is a bitch, but if it was easy, they wouldn't be what they are. If every jackass could do it, it wouldn't be as cool. The challenge is where it's at, man.
That's why I'm in it. I'll tell you right now, I'm in it because how many people try to scare me not to get into it? How many people told me, oh, so-and-so was in it for 5 years, or I've heard a story. I don't even know the name, and even if I knew the name, I wouldn't drop it. It's not what this channel's all about. But I knew somebody who fucking collected, invested, I don't know how much money over the past 10 years, never got a clutch, and they fucking finally went AWOL and say fuck it, and never heard of these people, never heard of them again, and it just.
And then there's also Thomas, who I know he just burned off, but he'll probably catch back up with us. Thomas is my dude. Y'all don't know Thomas. He's TCO Serpents on Facebook and Instagram. Thomas is a good dude. You got guys like him who gets a pair of wild caught Beox that he got for basically nothing. I know the male he damn near rescued and threw them together a few months later and got a big badass clutch out of them. First try, bam, bam.
Yeah.
I have one of those animals, and he's one of my favorites, man. Little Six. He's that little fucker is little over 2 years old, and he's been shedding plugs and tearing his cage up and shit.
I gotta get ready for Six. Have you posted a recent picture of Six?
It's been a little while since I've shared Six. I probably should post some. I don't have him on.
He's not on Instagram.
Man. No, not in a while. I haven't put him on Instagram in a while. But there's
he was red. Was he red on his?
He was a red. There's pictures of him on there.
Here's Six. Come on. All right. Here's Six.
Yeah, and there's way more recent pictures of him than that. But yeah, there's he was 4 months old and a tiny little brown baby when I first got him.
This thing is so fire, bro. I love this thing.
Yeah.
What is that?
Good stuff right there. That one's from Rico. That animal is just a Cyclops Sorong outcross.
So Rico produced this?
Yeah, Sorong Cyclops times Sorong, so 75% Sorong. She's the blue's popping a little heavy in that picture, man.
Another fucking crazy, undocumented. So let's talk about something that's shit. I'm not that.
So that's the sire of my last 2 clutches.
Hold on.
That's Crook.
Hold on. Damn, I fucked that one up. Oh, here we go. All right. So let's talk about Homeboy here.
Yeah.
So I found what's undocumented mean? So there's no
undocumented means that I do not have legitimate lineage information on that animal. He's obviously a designer. There was never in history a wild chondro that looked like that. And rarely just a locality outcross that could be like that. He clearly has designer lineage. A couple of us have some theories about his lineage. I thought he reminded me of the DOP Merlot pairing, and Pedro and Anders both have animals from that clutch that are almost identical.
All right, let's get into the sarong here, right?
That post right there has more likes than all of my other Instagram posts.
Well, no shit. Look at it. The hell? Look at that. Look at that example. This is fucking nuts, Patrick.
Yeah, she's badass, dude.
So have you has this guy proven yet?
Yeah, that's the girl that gave me my first clutch last year.
This is a female. This is a female.
Yeah.
Female.
That's my my Sorong female from Thomas, the other Thomas. That's the one that I got the eggs from earlier last year with the Sorong Arfak male.
Here's Patrick. He's super ripped. He's all about health, self-health, and mental stability. He's actually really fucking awesome about
That's Photoshop, bro. I have a beer belly.
You airsprayed your shot.
Yeah, I did the 300 deal and airbrushed my abs on there.
Hold on real quick. So I'm okay. Fuck, dude. What up with this one? What's going on here?
That is just a Biak, man. And that black, all that black she's got was because somebody was keeping her under a really high output ultraviolet light. She has shed for me 4 times, I believe, and her first couple sheds had a lot of black in the shed. Almost all of that is gone now because I don't keep them under UV light.
So that came due to bad lighting?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a pretty common occurrence when we see these Biaks that have this just like really black wash to them. A lot of that is from ultraviolet light. I've seen it time and time again, and you take them out of that lighting and they lose it real quick. I've had her for, I don't know, a year or something, and she's shed it all out.
December 2019, you had another clutch. What the fuck's going on, man? How many clutches did you have last year?
So that was the crook clutch from last year, and those actually hatched. God, surely I didn't wait until December to post those. Those hatched October 27th, I believe, is when they started hatching. Dude, I've been slacking on the Instagram, bro. I haven't posted anything in a while, man.
I know I can help you with that. You just need a little bit of push. I appreciate you sharing my stories. I was really blown away. I thought I was gonna have to ask you or something to kind of like direct. I thought I was like, dude, I'm gonna have to fucking teach fucking Patrick how to use his stories. I don't think he knows.
I know how to use it, man. I've been lazy. I've been paying attention to other things, man.
Thomas is still paying attention. He can't leave. He's still here.
He's still here.
Yep.
Oh, you're so sweet, Thomas.
Weirdos. You guys are really gay for each other. You want to know how I know? Is because let's talk about the first interaction we had on Facebook. Thomas didn't like me so much because I put like a little Wayne reference in something, and he's like, I don't even fucking know who that is.
I remember in the Biak Brigade. Yeah, man.
Woo! And I used to be hot back then. Back then, I used to just fucking mouth off. But I honestly respected, because I was like, I knew he was the admin. And by that time, you had pissed me off because I posted a snake on my Instagram that I got from a certain fucking importer. And I posted a pic that he sent me. And I put and Patrick was like, in the comments was like, hey man, that snake looks dehydrated. And of course MJ fucking took it personal. And I was like, what? I was like, fuck that shit. And like I didn't even talk shit to Patrick or anything. I took it personal. And then I even went back to the importer and I sent the picture. I was like, yo man, this guy has the nerve to say that this snake looks dehydrated. And he's like, yeah, man, you shouldn't have posted that picture. He's like, he was like, that was when it first came in from Indonesia. And I was like, oh my fucking God. And that snake was a Numford. That's the Numford I had that's fucking obviously thriving now. He's parent, you know what I mean? But oh man, I back then, Patrick, you only had majority of your pictures was just yoga pics. You had hardly any. So I did not respect Patrick's opinion at all. I was like, I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. Who the fuck is Patrick Holmes? And then I discovered him on Facebook, and then everything unraveled on who Patrick Holmes was. You're way more active on Facebook. And I was like, holy shit, this is his snakes. Oh shit, this is his snakes. And then, when you and Thomas kind of fucking tag team me on that post, which eventually I kind of made my, I was only trying to give you props. Like my only comment with Lil Wayne was to give you like a resemblance on how sick, whatever. I forgot what it was, but I wasn't talking shit.
I got in there and talked a little bit of shit too. And that's when you were like, hey bro, I like metal too. I don't only listen to rap.
Oh man, this is a couple years ago at least. This is like 2018 days for sure, because this is all pre a lot. Me and Patrick, I've been following him for like over a year now. So this is a back in the day shit. This is funny, and even though it's not really back to me in my small breeding, my collecting and breeding career, 2-3 years is a lot to me. So that's when it all started. So I think it's funny how that happened, and then eventually, once I started posting shit in the Biak. Is it the Biak Brigade, right? The Biak Brigade.
Yeah, Biak Brigade. Yeah.
I started earning your guys' props and shit like that, and all the animosity I put down and fucking learned to just chill out, and I was lucky to get your friendship, Patrick. You and I had a good conversations over the phone and shit, and he's helped me with my he's talked me into getting into yoga and shit like that. I don't know yet. I feel like the whole self-meditating is cool. I think that's something that's been helping me. I'm not even joking. First thing I do is fucking just go to something in complete silence, which is a snake trap, and just start my day by regrouping up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Some days I love to meditate in the snake room, man.
Oh, yeah. Everything's dialed in there. I feel like I don't have, even if I have so many worries in the world, no matter what they are, when I'm in the snake room, it's the snake room. I don't fucking think of anything else. It's like, so it's cool.
Having a space like that is important. And it doesn't have to be, Brian, what's up, dude? That's my fucking dude right there. Shout out to fucking Brian Cusco, man.
I love
That's
my guy. He's like, I'm stoked for everybody in attendance. Thomas, I mean, he was this close to getting the Celebrity Appearance Award, but it's gonna go to Cusco. Cusco with the Celebrity Appearance Award.
Yeah, man.
That's shout out to
Cusco. I got to hang out with him a couple of years ago, and cool. Brian and Forrest and myself, and there was a couple other people there. But we all sat together and had some deep conversations about some not reptile related stuff and some shared history and struggles. And it was really, really fucking cool. And it was really just a lot of people were there. Gary Scavino was there. Bill Stiegel was there. Mark Hager was there. We were all just hanging out outside at the hotel after an ARBC. And this is February 2019, and but yeah, me and Forrest and Brian all opened up to each other about some of our shared history and some of our struggles and things that we had been to, and it was really badass, man. And so I don't talk to Brian as much as I should. I probably should talk to him more often. Got to see him briefly at the last NARBC. I love that dude, and he's a really, really good dude, man.
Brian and I are planning a trip to Texas, so
please come on down and fucking kick it, man.
This is the first time we're talking about it, but yeah, we're definitely gonna go to Texas. I miss Texas. And I didn't even know people. Like, now I know people in Texas. I know sick ass motherfuckers in Texas. You're one of them. But I'm like, what the fuck? I need to go back to Texas now. Like, yeah, telling you, especially when you know people, you're straight. Like, Texas, nobody knows Texas better than Texans. Right?
Yeah, we're kind of maybe we got a little bit of ego that goes along with that, but that's okay. Yeah, everything's bigger in Texas, right?
But what's crazy, and this is, I'll stand behind this. Nobody has to agree, even though I do. This is the most baddest motherfucker out of Texas that I've ever met. Hands fucking down, Patrick. I'm telling you right now, you're the GOAT in my opinion. And and with time, if it's not already embedded in people's minds now, you're gonna be proven to be that. Because I can tell you right now, you know who respects you the most, and he doesn't live in this country. Who do you think it is?
I know what you're gonna say, man.
Fucking Pedro.
That's gonna be fun, man. That's gonna be fun.
Shh, nothing's gonna be fun. I'm just saying he respects you. Shut the fuck up. There you go again. Oh my God.
I mean, nobody would have even thought anything of it. Pedro is one of the people that has an animal that I think is a sibling to that designer male that I'm calling undocumented. He has a female that Ben Evans produced from the DOP, the -O Pepper DOP Merlot clutch, which is just heavy designer lineage, man. There's all kinds of like just badass lineage in there. And then Anders has one, and they're like identical. Pedro's female is named Eleanor, and the other one is named Bane, and they both are identical to Crook. So we kind of jokingly call them siblings, even though I can't prove that that's what pairing he's from. But I don't really even give a shit what his lineage is. It would be great to figure it out, because I would be able to help people figure out like what kind of stuff my offspring are more suited for or whatever. And honestly, they would be more valuable if I had his pedigree. And I'm usually really good at digging that type of stuff up, and I've been trying hard with him. One day it'll probably pop up. I got him from a random dude. I paid $350 for that snake.
That's
And
wild.
yeah, and you know, maybe I'll figure it out one day, but right now I like the fact that I'm getting these crazy ass results from something that I just don't know. I have no clue what, for sure what he is. So
I mean, I feel like people who get results put in some sort of time and effort where it took a lot of patience, or they just went through a lot of shit.
yeah,
You've been
I
through
mean,
some shit, Patrick. Let's be honest. You've been through
I've,
some shit. Like you've
I've
got yourself through some battles in life that a lot of people can't get through or come back through, which
yeah,
makes me admire you a lot. And we've talked about this before, but you've
yeah,
been through some fucking dog shit days. And you're the happiest guy. Like when I talk to you, man, you've always have the best spirit. Your energy's always high. And now things are happening for you. You know what I mean? So, but go ahead. What were you gonna say?
yeah. Well, yeah, now things are finally starting to happen for me, and the whole fucking world is falling apart right now, right?
I said 2020 is gonna be my fucking year because 20 is my lucky number. No shit. I look 20 is my favorite and lucky number other than 7.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
2020 was going to be my year, and it sucks. Like with the George Floyd situation. I don't want to. I'll touch on that later. But fuck, man, there's so many terrible, fucked up things happening in this world right now,
yes,
and it makes me feel selfish because I'm still excited about my year. Like I'm still very
yes,
excited. Like I'm like, yeah, man. Like I see somebody saying, oh, this was my 2020, and there's a picture of a sack zipped up in a zipper, and it's like the reality. It's like that's
yeah,
really the truth. Like a lot of people thought 2020 was going to be their year, and now look what's happening. COVID, racism, fucking Bob Smith. It's getting horrible. You know what I mean? So there's just things you have to level above, and luckily for what I'm excited about, it's keeping my head above all this bullshit that's
yes.
happening. Right?
Fuck
So
yes, fuck yes. Look, man, um, there's a lot of like terrible shit going on, and a lot of people who are in way worse situations than I am in. And um, I don't, you know, I know what you said about me being in good spirits all the time. I still have fucked up days like everybody else, man. I had a shitty ass day yesterday. Yesterday was a shitty fucking day for me. I was in a lot of pain. Like sometimes I'm old as fuck, and sometimes I work out a little bit too hard, and I was
you go too
stressed
heavy
out
on
from
yoga.
work. I'm fucking yeah. Look, I'm old and I'm falling apart, and
You're ripped though. This fool's solid. What's your body fat percentage? It's fucking
I,
probably -0 or some
it
shit.
it's terrible right now because I've been eating like shit, which
You're
just
sugar. You've been
really,
eating candy, huh?
yeah. I not lately. I slid off, dude. I'm basically keto right now. Like I'm like no carb right now because I was slipping a little bit too much. And honestly, dude, that's not a body fat thing. I'm not gonna get fat. I'm lean as a motherfucker.
Yeah, you're
I
not.
can sit down and I can eat a whole fucking cheesecake and it's not gonna affect me. But man, this is a totally different conversation that we don't have time to get into. But I was a sugar addict too, among all the other things that I was addicted to. And addiction is addiction, and I can see myself slipping, and it becomes a discipline thing. I'm like, okay, I'm doing that thing again. There I am doing that thing again. And it's not heroin, but
Then you're
it's
addicted to something. An
the
addiction's an
sugar.
addiction.
Addiction is addiction, and the sugar will fucking kill you too. So it's just real slow. Anyways, but yeah, man, I've been blessed to be working this whole time. And that's a huge thing. So many people are out of work and are struggling and worried about stuff. That's why it really bums me out that we have people that are burning down fucking small businesses that are already struggling and all that.
Yeah.
I understand the anger and the police brutality thing is fucked up regardless of skin color. I've been fucked up by the cops a bunch, man.
It's for real.
Look, I am white as a motherfucker. You see how white I am? I mean, I got a decent tan going, but I'm as white as they get. Man, I've been fucked up by the cops. I've had cops do me wrong I got strip searched on the highway during rush hour traffic one time. No bullshit. I've had cops beat me the fuck up. So police brutality.
You want people to complain? Cool. Yeah, it's really not. And the thing is, it's not. Look, there's fucking terrible cops out there. There just needs to be more good cops. I know there's good cops out there. I know there is, but I know there's more bad cops. So my dad always instilled in my brain, at the end of the day, when you're fucking dealing with an officer or a cop, it's yes sir, no sir, period. You don't test a cop. The thing is, people love to test authority. But you don't fucking test a cop, because you're either testing somebody who's either could help you out and is legit, or you're gonna test somebody who has little dick syndrome, or has a little fucking past of not having friends back in the day, and now they could fucking punk you and take advantage of you. That's what you're risking. So a lot of people have the attitude, well, I'm not going to fucking bow down to them. Dude, it's not about bow downing to them. It's respecting that they're out here to fucking look out for us. Some most likely aren't, but don't give those people the time of day, or give them an opportunity to fuck you over. My dad's a fucking biggest Mexican American you'll ever meet, but he's super dark. He's a dark fucking dude. And my dad had this sick ass Navigators back on 24s, back when rims were popular. And this motherfucker got pulled over by the sheriff every week. They would fucking pull him over. And my dad never fucking talked shit to him. He talked shit why we drove away. And he'd be like, it's because of my fucking dark skin, blah, blah, blah. And he was so heated, but he never fucking took it there to the cops. He never called them a racist or got in their fucking face. Because who knows? Who knows where it would have took it to? You know what I mean? And America does not like authority, bro. They don't want to fucking be told what to do. And that's, I mean, I'm not here to say what's right or what's wrong. I'm just saying, fucking be safe. Do what's right for your own fucking being and your own health and your family. And don't fucking test a cop. Especially right now, humans are at war. Americans are at war with the cops right now, technically. Technically, I have National Guard that's 5 minutes away from my house at curfew. We have curfew at 8 o'clock. It's curfew in 3 minutes. Nobody can step out of their house for fucking, I don't know. I never in my life had never thought this would ever happen, bro. That's wild. Yeah,
it is wild. And here's the thing, man. Within all groups, all colors, all cops, all groups of people, there are bad seeds.
Horrible seeds. All groups of races, all groups of everything. There's
everybody.
There's bad.
People, by and large, people are good. Some people don't want to believe that, but that's what it is. By and large, people are good. But all humans are capable of doing great things and doing terrible things. Some of the most dangerous ones are the ones who don't embrace the fact that they are capable of dangerous things.
Look at shit that's unraveling with celebrities, you know what I mean? Rape cases and all this shit, and it's been years.
All that nasty shit,
nuts,
man.
Bro. It's nuts, but and it's nuts.
Right now, there is an opportunity because things are so fucked up. All that is open doors everywhere, man.
Yep.
Good things come out of bad things. I understand that more than a good percentage of people do, because of the shit that I've put myself through. The battle with yourself is always the hardest fought one. Always.
100%.
You'll never fight anything external harder than you will fight internal things. And the shit that I've drug myself through, because all the bad shit that's happened to me for the most part is somehow my fault. But even most of the times the cops beat me up was pretty much my fault. But to me, the more and more fucked up things get, it makes me more optimistic that things that need to change can change. And there's an opportunity for all of us to come out on the other side of this shit better, because everything balances out. Everything. Okay.
Everything does at some point. And I feel like right now, everything has its peak. Everything has its waves. And I can tell you right now, bro, there's nobody protesting right now. Where two banks got burnt down 4 days ago, that energy of people, they that's all they needed. Now fucking they don't want to come and see a National Guard. Shit's getting real now. Now there's no more games. Nobody's playing fucking games no more. Okay. Dude, everybody has a right to speak up. But when you're vandalizing fucking people's businesses, you're fucking killing them. This is so this is so the opposite of protesting. I'm telling you right now. This is not how you get your okay, you got the attention, but you got the wrong kind of attention. And now people are gonna fucking die. We had the reason why we had the National Guard here in La Mesa is because we had a lady get shot with rubber bullets who ended up dying. Okay. So what the fuck, man? Like, okay, I understand, but was your life worth being there, at least like putting yourself at risk? Like you don't have a family to think of. You don't have anything more important to think of except I need to come here and fucking rush the cops. I need to come here and burn things. Like, bro, like this it's not doing anybody any good. Country. This is America. Like, this is like, listen, as much as you hate the police, and I'm not a fan of the police. Trust me, I've hated cops my whole fucking life. Okay. Fourth favorite felon. Okay. Trust me, I've hated fucking cops my entire life. But you can't fucking win against the government of the United States. You're going to fucking lose. I don't give a fuck who you are. You can rally against whatever you want, but people are going to die if you really try to take it there. Who wants to die? Like, that's why
that's the wrong way to handle it, man.
Voting, you can vote, you can write letters. Like, bro, there's different ways of doing things, and there's definitely people who are doing it the right way. I'm telling you, and they're the ones that are getting the officers to kneel down with them. Those are the right things. Those, like, that's gonna be so impactful. I almost fucking got in tears when I finally saw a video of the cops kneeling and the fucking protesters kneeled, and the protester got up to hug the cop, and the cop got up. And dude, you know, you could tell how passionate a hug is by somebody. Like, have you ever seen somebody hug and you could tell they've been wanting a hug? This fucking cop wanted a hug so bad. He did not want to be like, he did not want to be in the front lines, dude. He was like, who knows what he's thinking about? His family, all this shit, because it's his job. You know what I mean? He does not want to attack the Americans. Like, it's not a war against fucking, this is not what it's supposed to be like, but it's like this because the individuals who are taking it to a route and demolishing small businesses, killing innocent people who are defending their businesses, you know, trying to threaten fucking people that they're going to go inside their homes. We're moving into residence. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, dude, it's more like a war against the fucking non-Americans against Americans. That's what it's coming down to, dude. I'm sorry to rant, but fuck, man.
Look, there needs to be change on at a base level and on a large scale, but the violence is not, it's just not the answer, man.
The violence is not violence on top of violence is not, like, you know how they say fucking two wrongs don't make a right. This is two really, really bad wrongs right now. Like, in understand, man, this is.
Well, one of the biggest problems is that the media is going to latch on to the most sensational stories, man. The things that are getting all the attention are the idiots doing idiotic shit.
Bro, the media is so much in control at this point, bro, because of COVID. Think about what led to this, okay? The people are like this to the television right now, to the point to where now they're seeing police brutality, somebody dying from the police. You think this is the first fucking time in history somebody has died from the police? You think it's the first fucking non-white person to die from the police? You think not even a white man has died from the police? Everyone has died from the police. Yes, it was fucked up. It broke my heart, bro, the way Floyd went out. My God, screaming for his mother. I don't even want to talk about it. It gets me emotional. That is terrible. But you know how many stories are like that? Like, but now because people are glued to their phones, they're glued to whatever's fucking recorded, everything is taken to a whole nother fucking level now. Wake the fuck up. This shit's been happening. It's been happening. Yeah. Now you want to fucking go to war? Like, dude, this is
the people. The people that are upset about it are the ones who are legitimately upset and actually care, not the idiots that are burning stuff down, but the ones that are. And I can't say all the people that are burning stuff are idiots. It's the thing I really have an issue with. You know, Walmart has insurance. Little mom and pop shops that's already struggling right now because of everything that's going on. That it's fucked up. But anyways, beyond that, there are people that care, that are aware that this shit's been going on for a long time, and that's what they want. They want change. But
apparently protesting some people is sacrificing their lives. I don't give a fuck about what you think is historical with fucking protesting. Go fuck yourself. That's my personal experience. If you're gonna put my family member who owns a business in jeopardy because you feel you should sacrifice your life, go fuck yourself. That's when I hope I could come in and shoot you in the fucking face.
There are a lot of peaceful protests going on all over the place.
Go fuck yourself. I take that offensive. How you think protesting is sacrificing your life? This is not other countries. This is fucking America. We don't do that shit in America. We don't sacrifice our lives to fucking protest. Go fuck yourself. Sorry, I take that very personal when somebody says that. I don't like that. I don't fucking sacrifices to make a point here in America.
There are peaceful protests going on right now.
I don't like that. I don't like motherfuckers who try to make America a third world country. It's not gonna happen, bro. Go fuck yourself. I'm gonna block this faggot's fucking. Excuse me. I'm gonna block this guy. Period. I don't even want nothing to do with this guy after that. That really makes me fucking mad. I have nothing against. By the way, I love all the gays. And when I get angry, I get angry. So, but, anyways, let's get off that topic. God bless everybody. Please be safe. That's all I care about. Just be safe. Take care of yours. Take care of your family. And listen, if you want to fucking take it there with your protesting, don't get innocent people involved. Please. It's not fair. It's really not fair. That's all I got to say. Okay? Period. God bless America. Let's get back to snakes. Jesus, what happened there?
Is that what we're here for? It's snakes?
Yeah, I forgot. We were talking about some crazy shit, and I got fucking wild into it. I kind of went full MJ there for a little bit, just because I am, I don't talk a lot about this, but how can you not when it's happening everywhere? It's affecting the entire country. You know what I mean? So
the whole world.
I just want people to be safe, dude. I don't want to hear about more people dying. Like, I don't want that. I'm trying to avoid people fucking. I'm gonna try to avoid seeing death. I don't want to see death from our own people. There's people fucking running people over. Why do you think? They're scared for their own lives, bro. You see the LA riots where that guy got his fucking face bashed in, pulled out.
I didn't see it because I don't watch that shit, man.
Exactly.
I don't watch the news, man. Fuck the news.
Fuck the news, bro. But what sucks is when you're into social media because of your snakes, you eventually stumble across some news that you don't want to see, but you see it. And that's the problem.
A little bit.
I've never seen clips. I heard of the LA riots, but I've never seen clips of the LA riots. And I happen to see a clip of the dude who got dragged out of the semi and got and he got his, he survived.
The original one. Yeah. Reginald Denny with the
1991. Terrible, bro. Like, innocent guy, bro, but he stopped he didn't run nobody over, but he stopped and they fucking pulled him out and almost killed him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you think people nowadays are gonna stop, like just stop for you? Okay, go ahead. Oh, you're upset? Oh, okay, just pull me out of the car. Dude, I'm pedal to the metal, bro. I will run people over to save my life. Yes. I'm sorry. If you're fucking
I just feel like I'm blessed to be 40 miles from the fucking city, man. I'm staying out of the way.
I stay at home. And I'm glad I'm a homebody because I just, you know what I mean? It sucks, bro. But it's reality right now. It is what it is. It will blow over. I'll tell you right now. Everything is just fucking blowing up because of social media. People are glued to their phones and people are glued to the TV. That's all they have right now. A lot of them are still not working. They don't have no lives. They don't have no snakes to clean after. They got fucking nothing. So all they do is stare at the TV and they wait for anything to believe, especially the CNN lovers, bro. Oh my God. And if you're offended by this, who cares? I don't give a shit. CNN is bullshit. All right, let's get out.
Bullshit.
God damn it. Sorry. Patrick Holmes, man, he's not a political fucking, he's not in office. I don't mean, I don't know why we're talking about this. Listen, how long, your phone's been charging for how long now? Do you have any battery? Because you know where I'm about to get to right now.
Yeah, I do. And I mean, I'm going to have enough to, I fucking lost, I didn't lose it. I left my phone charger at my other shop. And so this one I'm using sucks. But I've got just enough juice in there where I can unplug it for a minute and we can go.
Let's floss some neos, bro, because you're in your quarantine little hatchling room. So, all right, guys, I'm sorry for my rant. I got some good stuff coming finally. Patrick's gonna fucking floss some really, really fire ass red neonates right now. Okay. By the way, I'm sorry about my rant. If I offended anybody, I apologize. I'm sorry. Okay.
So I got
Here we go.
a little hatchling rack action going on right here. I don't know what the lighting is like right here. What do we got?
You look good. You look good.
I'm really liking these little guys that have the this reduced patterning. Some of these guys are super dark. I'm trying to stay out of the light. Oh, I got an idea. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's way better. Right there. Yeah, that light is working. Do that again. If you don't mind doing that again.
Yeah. Y'all can see that they're having their first sheds.
Yeah, they're in shed.
Almost everybody has shed.
Give us, yeah.
This is the one from the hatching picture.
All right, keep it on it. Yeah, floss that for like a little bit. Yeah.
That's an awesome animal. That's that one with that really bold
that
stripe.
Thing is so fire, bro.
What else do I got? This one's got a really bold pattern, big diamonds. Same with this one right here. Really bold pattern, big diamonds. This is one of the striped ones that has not shed yet. Where are you at? So he's still shiny, but I imagine he'll probably shed tomorrow.
Are you spraying them every 2 days, or how do you keep them high? How do you keep the humidity for those?
I spray the paper, and I do when the babies are young. I spray them directly, not every day, but I get the paper wet as soon as it dries out. There's pretty good ventilation in here, so and the front of the tubs will stay fogged up, and that's from the temperature differential. Like if it's just barely humid in there when you're in a room with a lower ambient, the front of the tub is going to fog up. This little guy. This one's one of the bigger ones. Here's the two little ones that were really weak, but are coming around now. So I like this little guy right here. That one's got a crazy reduced pattern too. Almost no markings at all. Really cool.
Jeez, bro, you're killing it.
Yep. So they will get those lights back off. Yeah, man. Hopefully the rest of that rack will be filled up with baby Beox next week.
And just adding more. So we're expecting yellow or red. What do you think?
Oh, they're all going to be red.
That's nuts, bro. I don't even know, because see, I got my girl Okay, so see this snake right here?
Yeah.
That's the one who laid. That's Mimi.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And Mimi was about 2.5 going on 3 in this picture right here. But it always tripped me out because how yellow she was. I don't know if she was a yellow neonate or a red.
Yeah, send me that picture, and I'll. It's hard for me to tell because there's a glare on it there, but send me a picture of like the oldest picture you have of her, and I'll be able to tell for you. Beox are one of the hardest ones to tell the difference when they're adults, because if they haven't, reds are easier generally because a lot of times they retain some of the dorsal markings, but sometimes they don't. Man, it can be really difficult to tell their neonate color when they're fully colored out and mature.
But that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited to see either red or yellow fucking neonates coming out of those eggs. I mean, do you happen to know off like Numford? Do you know anybody who's produced Numfords?
No, not in the United States. There's a couple of people, and again, like I say, man, a lot of these things, you can take anything from any of those islands over there and label it any of those island labels, and you can't really tell the difference. But it's I haven't seen a lot of animals even claimed to have that label in the U.S. So, and again, I think them as all the same thing anyway. So, yeah, that the Biak pair that I put together were both red, so I don't expect there to be any yellows in that clutch. I kind of wanted to hatch some yellows this season, and I do have one egg in the incubator right now from my Vinsky Manokwari pairing, and that female was a yellow baby, and so if that egg hatches, it could be yellow, but I doubt it. My Vinsky male's probably dominant red, so it's probably going to be a red. But and I've never seen.
We're expecting more. We're expecting more red beauties, though, huh?
Yeah, yeah, and I like yellows, especially when they're like Manokwari or Sorong lineage with really heavy patterning. But I have not hatched a yellow since 2012. And I was kind of looking forward to it this year, but it may not happen.
A yellow would have been nice.
Yeah. Hey, look, I can't, like, that seems like a long time. I can't take credit like I've been breeding Chondro straight through since 12 because, I was locked up for 5 years out of that interim. So,
yeah, we were gonna talk about how Patrick got locked up, but we don't need, he got locked up. Now he's here. He's thriving. He's doing great. He's fucking killing it. And he,
twice it took me 2 times to go into prison before I got my head screwed on straight, but
well, the longest term you did for was how long?
I did almost 5 years last time.
So, and that was
2012 to 17.
Okay, 2012 to 17.
Yeah, I was gone from 03 to 05. And dude, I started getting in trouble in 96. I got my first felony in 96.
Jesus.
As a juvenile. I have done a total of about 8 years.
Patrick's he's pretty structured at this point. Let's just say that.
Yeah, or at least real fucking good at pretending like I am.
I mean, what's the biggest thing that you could tell us that you took away from doing time? What's the biggest thing you learned? Man,
to understand what is really important in life. Because I learned a lot of shit, man. Look, I've done almost 8 years of various forms of incarceration: city, county, prison. I've been to state prison and federal prison. I learned a lot of stuff, and I would not take back a second of it. I needed every single second that I did. I wouldn't change any of it at all. None of the shit that I've done or been through is I am what I am and who I am because of all the things that I've done. And that's true 100%. For everybody. Okay.
100%.
I have the strength that I have because of the struggles that I've been through.
Makes you who you are.
That's just what it is. But this last time, the thing that set in my head when I really started deciding, because that's what this is all about. It's all the making a decision is the hardest part of it. The actual change is not necessarily that difficult. It's making the true decision to be different and to make different choices and better choices. And it was fucked up catching Fed charges because it was a conspiracy, and I never there was not any evidence against me or anything that I never got caught with drugs or money or anything like that. So that started it off, and I'm like, God damn, the feds are not playing around. Like, they want you to go to prison, you're going to prison. But then while I was in the county, my youngest brother, I found out his wife was pregnant, and and both of my brothers, while I was gone, my youngest brother had a son and then had twin daughters. And also my other brother, Bobby, had a daughter, all while I was locked up. I missed all of that. That was the best thing to ever happen, and the worst thing because I was missing it because of my poor decisions. And so that's what really started turning me around, was my brothers becoming fathers and me not fucking being there. It was brutal, dude. It was beautiful and amazing because my brothers are amazing fathers and amazing men, and have been wise enough to learn from a lot of my mistakes. I'm the big brother. They've had me out ahead of them fucking up, you know. And you know, so that's what really changed it for me. So that's when I say to realize what's really important. Family is important, freedom is important, you know, all the things that we do that get us in trouble and the bad decisions, that's how we learn and it's how we grow, and it is what it is. But man, prison is lame, bro. It's fucking boring and lame. And but it's an opportunity, and I took full advantage of that opportunity. I started practicing yoga and meditation in prison. I went through a residential drug treatment program where I lived in a drug treatment unit for 13 months. I went through some serious shit, trying to screw my head on straight. And I had pictures of blue line chondros in my fucking locker to keep me going. Most guys got pictures of
Wild.
of girls from magazines in their locker. I had pictures of fucking blue chondros in my locker, and I had pictures of chondros in my photo album.
My question for Patrick on the Unfiltered episode was like, what kept you driven to want to keep chondros or snakes in general when you got out? And I don't think you told me you kept chondros on your wall. That's fucking that's sick, man. Fuck, dude. Some women, this was chondros.
Yeah, I had one of the guards that was my boss for the job that I had on the rec yard, which I refilled water jugs on the rec yard for $24.99 a month. That was my wages, $24.99 a month, and to sling 80-pound water jugs all day on the rec yard and keep them boys hydrated out there. I liked that job. It was a good one. My boss out there, he printed out. He got on Rico's website and printed up some pictures for me to put on the inside of my locker. It was really, really cool of him to do that.
Sick.
Yeah, man.
That's sick. Guys, I've always said, you know, the reason why Patrick is who he is to me is because his story is so impactful. I mean, I've told this quite a bit, but, you know, the reason why I could give so much back to this hobby forever is because it got me out of a hole that I was in. You know, I'm a fourth waiver felon and shit, and like, which I got expunged and all that's done. But I had so much tarnish and shit going on in my life that now I don't have to worry about going through, because my focus, everything is so different now. Like everything I do, I'm also thankful for the podcast, because now the podcast keeps me even more busy and shit, and it's all wrapped around shit that I love to do. Having people like you on here, Patrick, I feel is like tremendous amount of gold of information that you give, because everything that you speak about, like there's no cap. Like we would have rounds on round. You would need so many rounds with Patrick to really get around all the shit that he would want to talk about, because it's endless information. It's years and years. Like think about this. If he had chondros on his walls in prison, what do you think he was fucking studying and thinking, like reading about? I'm sure you geeked out so much over fucking chondros while you're locked up. Am I right?
Well, I mean, I didn't have a ton of opportunity to do it. But man, I probably wore my friends out showing them pictures of my fucking snakes and talking about shit that they didn't have a fucking clue what I was saying. But look, while I was gone, Gary Scavino kept in contact with me, wrote me. He's the one that told me Rico was sick.
Oh, that's so hard.
Matt Morris kept in touch with me. My buddy David Means from the Amethystina Project.
Right there, dude.
Doing big things with scrub pythons over there. He kept in contact with me. So, you know, and then I had my brother and a couple of my friends keeping some of my snakes, and you know, so I thought about it constantly, man. Constantly.
It also gave you that drive too. It also gave you that drive, am I right?
Yeah. It gave me a drive to get out and patch up all the shit that I fucked up before when I got locked up, because that was a savage thing right there. But you know, and get this thing going again, because it's I don't know why the fuck I keep doing it. It's brutal too, watching females slug out. I've had that happen twice this year. just spending all my time bashing babies over the head with pinkies, trying to get them to fucking eat, and it's it's savage, man. But I like it. I dig it, man.
Give me like 5, or give me like, we're gonna end this in 2.5 hours because I know we're stretching. You're doing an awesome time. I appreciate everything you're doing, but do me a favor if you don't mind. Your technique with dealing with neonates, period, with your feeding rituals or anything like that. Can we kind of discuss that real quick? Can you break down what it is that you do from your experience to get neonates to want to eat right off the bat, or whatever it is, if you don't mind?
So the first thing is that technically with animals I have produced, I don't really have a ton of experience. I don't even consider myself an experienced breeder. I like, you know, I've had a few clutches and I've had a few shit clutches too, and disastrous shit happen. However, I do have experience starting baby snakes in general in lots of difficult species, and I had a knack for that when I was a kid. And going back to the mid '90s, I had a thing for being able to get difficult feeders to eat and take. But with neonate chondros, like I say, I try to offer beforehand. I have this little setup that I use where I've got a little like stainless steel thermos, and I heat up some water in a little, like in a measuring cup in the microwave, and I pour it into that thermos to keep it hot. Then I've got a little glass dish, and I use that. I pour a little bit of hot water in it to dip pinkies in to heat them up before I offer them.
Yeah.
That tends to get a better reaction. I use chick down or quail down, or I've even used parakeet down. The quail seems to get the best response. I never shoot straight to scenting. I always try to get them to eat unscented pinkies first. But man, it's pretty consistent that heating the pinky gets you a better reaction, and scenting it with some down can get an even better reaction. And I go to the down a lot of times when I've got them that are striking and not holding on to it. A lot of times the chick down will change that. It is the actual technique, man. It's almost hard to explain. I ought to make some videos of it. Rico has a pretty good video for it. You know, it's there's a lot of different techniques, and the crazy thing about tease feeding babies is you can have a clutch of say I've got these 11 babies in there. There might be a half a dozen different styles of feeding in there. Like, you have to know what individual animals react to. And that's why chondro breeders that are legit don't like to send babies out until they've eaten 15 and 20 fucking times, because some of them just take right off, man. Some of them just smash food right off the bat and they just take off and they're savages. Some of them take months to get to the point where they're just coming out of the tub. And that's what I like to send out. I like to ship out fucking dragons that are literally coming out of the tub when I open it up. You know, that I want that badass feeding response. And there's, man, the animals can be so individual where there's a lot to it, man. You get just really subtle techniques. I'm sure there's a million things that I don't know about it, and I'll just continue to gain experience with it. And so the biggest thing, we touched on this with Pedro, is getting my mindset and my energy right, man, because you have to be calm and centered going into that shit. If you have a bad day, Pedro said this in the last when I was on with him, he said, you know, when I have a bad day, I know I'm not going to do good feeding the babies, and that's what it is. I sit down and breathe. I try to do at least a short meditation, especially if it's an evening feeding and I've had a rough day. I got to bring it in, because you have to focus and you got to be patient, man. Prison and chondros will teach you patience like a motherfucker, man.
Hey, with no choice. You don't got a fucking choice, too. Like, that's like, bro, like, I'm the most impatient motherfucker. Like, if you really know me from, like, since you know me, like my sisters know me and shit, or my wife, I got no patience, bro. I'm super just.
Well, you do now.
Exactly. But like now I know that patience works in my favor. Now I'm learning that patience is my friend. Like patience is what you need. Without patience, you're fucked. You got no peace of mind. You are, it's like I want to have a whole episode about patience and peace of mind. They go hand in hand. It's crazy.
Yeah, the chondros are going to test you in a whole lot of different ways, man. But like we were talking about, good things coming from bad things and everything being in waves.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It is rewarding.
You ride the wave.
So rewarding. Yes, it's so rewarding because it's so challenging. That's why it's as rewarding as it is, because it's such a challenge.
Yeah. Ride your motherfucking wave. I remember, because I've been in majority of my career and work-wise has been in sales. And I remember there was one time I was doing something really, really good, and I was like fucking peaking and shit like that, which I didn't know, but my boss was like, hey man, just enjoy the wave while you can, and I was like, I was on such a high where I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like a wave crashes. Like I ain't crashing, but eventually shit did crash. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's all about how you regroup to catch your next wave. Because dude, waves come and go, man. And if you're just on the fucking surf, or if you're just on the beach watching all your waves crash and not taking any paddles out there to fucking rip it, Johnny Utah, if you're not Johnny Utahing anything that comes your fucking way, fucking watch Point Blank if you don't know what I'm talking about. Dude, you're gonna fucking miss out on so many opportunities in life. I guarantee Patrick fucking catches every fucking wave he gets in life, and those waves could be chondro clutches. They could be fucking yoga opportunities. Who knows? I don't fucking.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not just about what you intentionally do in life. That's just the nature of physics and existence. It's just what it is. Everything the opposite of everything has to exist for that thing to exist. There's no dark without light, right? You have everything in context of what it's not.
So whoever goes through the darkness, it's okay. Like it's not. It's fucking. It's all how you deal with it, and just know that it's the harder you push, the more lighter it gets, and keep that positive mindset. And
that's the difference between all people, between you and me, one person to the next. What makes us unique is how we react to everything that comes our way. Every reaction is everything. That's why it's one of the most important aspects of meditation, because it helps me deal with how I react to things. It gives me more space to think about how I react. And like you just said, there will be a momentum behind you no matter what direction you choose. You want to be bad and fuck up, it'll become really easy for you. They say that, slippery slope to hell or whatever, that whole philosophy. It is exactly the same in the opposite direction, man. If you choose to live a better life and make better choices, there will be a momentum that forms. And it's behind you, man. You can call it God, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but it's there.
100%. Patrick, dude, you're such a good soul. You're a good individual. You're a really good friend. I feel like I appreciate it all the times you're there for me. I appreciate you being here tonight for this 2.5+ hours for all my viewers and shit like that, man. I think people who weren't here tonight that stumble across this at whenever they do, they're going to be like, fuck, this is such a great episode. And I'm just, at some point I'm in the trap with the smirk in my face, because I told y'all this motherfucker is no joke. And this is not the only time. At some point, Patrick has a 9 to 9 grind. He grinds a lot. He has the snakes. So this moment with Patrick means a lot. We are going to get him. No date yet. There's going to be another date with him, or there's going to be at some point him on the Unfiltered Reptiles podcast for a really sick special episode. Don't spill the beans, Patrick, please. But yes, we're going to be able to get more from this guy. Okay. Go subscribe to the Unfiltered Reptiles fucking page at the link in the description below. That way, when we do release, when we're coming out with another Patrick episode, you'll be the first person to know. But Patrick, I fucking appreciate you, man. Like, you have no idea how fucking awesome of a fucking person you are to me. And I really feel like you are the undisputed GOAT fucking of the chondro game. Because Pedro says so too. Pedro says it. I agree. So
Pedro's got goat status too, man.
For reals, you can't fuck with Pedro, man. But honestly, you're just such a fucking great individual, man. And I feel like the more active you get on both platforms, meaning get on Instagram, so my peeps who are on this channel get to know you more, man. Because I'll tell you what, I don't have Facebook people on here. I have a lot of Instagram people on here.
I know. So, I'm about to start blowing up my Instagram, dude. I've just been slacking, and
you got the heat. Hey, you want to know something sick though, real quick? Is Instagram now links with Facebook, so whatever you post on Instagram does both. So you're fucking wash your hands and be like, boom, boom.
I think I'm gonna link, because I have 2 Instagrams. I have that other one that has no pictures on it yet, the Arboreal Obsession one. Mm-hmm. I think I'm gonna link that one to my Arboreal Obsession Facebook page. And start doing that because it's kind of just an easy thing. It won't be quite as personal. Both of those pages are basically just photo dumps for me. Right. But that's also kind of my thing. I just like, what happens when one of y'all motherfuckers tags me in one of those Facebook threads and I just start blasting that shit out with fucking pictures.
It's annoying.
Yeah. It's annoying because of how dope my shit is, dude.
That's what I'm talking about. So real quick, we will touch on this. I had a crazy interview last week. I had an interview. I think it was a week before, but we had an interview with somebody, and Patrick fucking sent us the pictures that I showed you with the bomb ass red neonates and all that. He sent us a bunch of pictures of those all at the same time. So I got them, Desiree got them, and Steven got them, and we're all looking at our phones like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh my God. And then afterwards, after the interview, we're like, dude, did you get fucking Patrick's text? And we're like, yeah, we got him. Yeah, we already know Patrick. Thanks for your fucking. We already know. You know what I mean? It was just super iconic. But honestly, like, you can't help but to look at what he sends you. It's like, especially when you get like 6 or 7 texts in a row. That's how it works with Patrick. If he sends you anything more than one text, he's sending you pictures of something that just got born or something that's really awesome. Who fucking knows?
Or me bleeding, pulling something out of the woods or whatever.
Yeah, either way, you can't look away from it. But Patrick Holmes, ladies and gentlemen, man. Real quick, sorry, I have to get this out too. Availability, right? Like at some point, are you going to become like? Is there a Patrick Holmes reptiles business? Is there ever going to be some sort of business? What's your plan?
So, that we can have a real long conversation about that whole thing, but real quickly, when I stopped using words like investment or just anything like that, market, when I stopped worrying about that shit, this whole thing started becoming way more fun for me. And when I stopped thinking about the money is when I actually started making a little bit. And I just do what I love to do. I've had some opportunities to take over some breeding operations, and I didn't have any interest in that shit. I wish I would like to produce enough chondros to have enough to sell to the people who are seriously interested in buying them. And right now I'm falling way short of that. Way short of that. I wish I had.
You have enough of those people?
Nowhere near enough. I could be selling chondros to every single day.
So there's opportunity for people to buy a chondro from you, is what you're saying.
Well, what I'm saying is I'm not producing enough, and all
you're short. My bad.
There's nowhere near enough babies for all the people that are hitting me up for them.
So you can produce more. God damn it, Patrick.
Yeah. I probably need to have about 300 animals like Rico did, so I can just be consistent with it.
Yeah,
that's never gonna happen, man. I like the I like my I know I have a lot of snakes compared to some people, but it's like 100. I don't have, I'm not like Brian Barchek used to have 30,000 snakes or whatever.
Holy mackerel! But he even talked about how that just gets to a stage of it just not being fun when you have to walk into 90 clutches. Like you're like, what the fuck? 90 clutches? Like that's a lot of work.
Yeah, man. So that's not what my thing is, and hopefully, I'll have enough to kind of, like I say, meet the demand of people who are serious about it. I get hit up by a lot of people, and I would love to be able to share it with as many people as I can. and it's cool that I get money for it, but I'm not making money on this shit,
Right.
dude. I like at some point I may eventually surpass the amount of money that I've put into the chondros. Like I may get out of the red on it, or I might not. But I've spent over $50,000 on green tree pythons over the years. Like well over that.
Everything else, like it's just.
I'm not talking about cages, equipment, food, any of that. I mean, green tree pythons alone, I've easy over $50,000.
This man's doing everything out of pure passion. Period. He's not, and that's why, like, I asked that question on purpose to let you guys know that he's not here to franchise out or become a mass production. It's not going to happen with Patrick. He's too dialed in. He's at a point in his life where fucking his chick gets rescues when he can't. Like, his life is good. Patrick's living a legit life right now.
Life is good, man. Everything's fucked up and life is still good, man. It's all about perspective.
Before your sign off, were you serious about maybe, if I'm maybe getting ahead of myself, and I'm probably gonna piss off a lot of viewers, but were you serious about maybe doing a little trade with me if I happen to get a right neonate that happens to be, you know what I mean? So, I mean, are we?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I got hey, look, we're both having this is my first Biot clutch that's about to hatch.
Yeah.
Eventually you and I are going to be able to work something out. We need to have, at some point, we got to have some kind of little swappy going. I love the trades, man. I've got some cool stuff that other people produce right now. That I got in trades. So trading is fun.
Dude, Patrick fucking Holmes, man. I know I probably tried getting this guy to sign off 3 times, but he just can't. It's so hard. I just need him on.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Seriously. I'll sit around and shoot the shit talking about snakes all fucking day long.
And listen, if you ever really want to get this guy to know personally, which I'm going to make sure I make an attempt to, Arlington, right? You go to Arlington shows, right?
Yes, absolutely. Hopefully shows will be a thing again.
It will. It definitely will. And the shows will prevail everything. We'll have such a great time. I can't wait to meet you, Patrick. You're the man, bro.
Yeah, come on down to Texas.
Go to Texas. I ain't riding no bull like the other motherfuckers, but I'm going to go hang out with you guys, man. But Patrick Holmes, thank you so much, man. We'll be in touch. Okay,
thanks,
so
brother.
have a great night.
Yeah,
enjoy yourself, and thank you for being here, man. We appreciate you so much.
Thanks for everybody that tuned in, man. I love you guys.
Patrick fucking
Thank
Holmes.
you.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good night. Patrick Holmes. Amazing, right? Fuck, dude. I love that guy, man. He could just go for hours. I'm telling you, because his knowledge is nonstop. I appreciate how long he went for us right now, because, you know, he had a fucking 12-hour plus day. Now spending time with us, and, you know, he has a girlfriend. I'm sure he has stuff he wants to do, but here he is spending time with us, giving us his knowledge. And boy, did he give us a lot, man. He gave us a lot within fucking 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm not even joking. So I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Viewers could have been a little bit better, but to be honest, like I said, this is more ball python heavy. So I appreciate the 30-ish viewers who are up in the building for my man Patrick. But Patrick Holmes, eventually at some point, this will be such a legendary episode that people will go back and be like, holy shit, good job, MJ, getting Patrick Holmes. Whenever that is, I don't give a fuck. It's going to happen at some point, day by day, right? But yeah, shout out to all my viewers. Shout out to everyone in the building, man. Before I go, I apologize. I got a little bit too excited and, whatnot to bring in Patrick. But shout out to Balls and Beards, man. I got your stickers, bro. I appreciate you so much. Got a couple stickers from Balls and Beards. I will we'll go ahead and say what his little saying is at the bottom, man. If my balls don't impress you, my beard will. Okay, but I think it's sick. Kind of, sort of. It's kind of weird, but the stickers are hard as fuck. So, yeah, man. Again, sorry about my rant earlier, man. Shit just hit the fan. Went full MJ. It's a little emotional for me, okay, because I just hate to see the violence that's going on in the world right now. I'm not, I ignore the media as much as I can, and I'm really good at it. But as soon as I see a glimpse of shit, and it fucking trickles down to other things that I see, it starts to build up in my mind, and then I get really, really built up about it. So I kind of feel like I just had events about it. So if I offended anybody out there, I really, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. I had to get it out. But on top of that, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in on this Thursday night. Patrick Holmes, is an amazing individual. Please make sure you tune in. Go give him a follow. I put his link in the description below. Gary Scavino as well. Make sure you check out his YouTube. He is fucking just putting content out there like a motherfucker. And the shit that he's putting out is super. It's like this episode. Historical. You don't want to miss it. You got to fucking figure out the shit that he's doing, because I'm telling you, it's going to open up the gates of so many other things that you can do in this fucking community. That's what this is all about, man. I'm trying to show you people out there that there's options. You don't have to keep one species. You can keep a bunch of other different stuff, man, because there's a bunch of cool stuff out there, and it's really not as difficult as a lot of people make it seem like there is. If you're structured, you get shit dialed in, you're good to go. Simple as that, man. Man, again, everybody in the comments, I appreciate everybody. We had some big heavy hitters up in the building, man. We had Marshall Mendez. Where's Marshall at? Marshall Mendez. Great episode. Patrick's the man. Thank you, Marshall. Marshall's the man. Thomas O'Kane, man. This guy's legendary on Facebook. TPC Serpents. He's not really, I don't know. He's like another Patrick on Instagram. Not so much Instagram heavy, but Biak Brigade, yeah, Biak Brigade. I'm on that page. I follow that Facebook page, and dude, sick ass dude. He has a lot of cool snakes that Patrick got off of him, and there's a lot of good interaction going on over there. But yeah, man, I'm glad you guys tuned in for this Green Tree Python episode. Next week we're back to ball pythons. All right, ball pythons, cool. No, for reals, I have a sick ass individual I'm bringing on next week. I think we're doing a back-to-back next week too. So I think we're going to have a little Thursday, Saturday action. But somebody's super iconic in the ball python game. Not fucking around. This shit's going to be epic. So make sure you tune in. Give me a follow on Instagram, MJ Exotics Cartel. And make sure you don't skip, hold on. Where the hell am I supposed to go? So yeah, make sure you're not skipping the whole Unfiltered Reptiles podcast channel. Link in the description below. We are fucking blasting out some crazy episodes. So we got some crazy heat going on this week. I think fucking Patrick spilled the beans already. Whoever paid attention, you already know what's happening on the next Unfiltered Reptiles podcast, but we're doing it back to back. So you don't know who the next person is, but it's going to be heat. It's going to be iconic. Make sure you follow Cold Blooded Cafe, www.coldbloodedcafe.com. Sims Containers. Don't forget about my homies at Sim Containers. My boy, John. If you have reptile eggs, they should be in a Sim box, period. And then if you're local in San Diego or you want craft beers delivered to your doorstep, make sure you go check out Creative Creature Brewery, located here in El Cajon or San Diego, California. They do shipping all through California. If you need something shipped to your house, let me know. I could arrange something for that, but make sure you go check out their page, Creative Creature Brewery. And yeah, man, I'm going to catch you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for all my followers, all my subscribers, all my fucking... You know what I mean? All my everything, man. You guys are amazing. And real quick before I leave, fuck Bob Smith, fuck Karen Smith, fuck Tabitha Smith, that's right, and Carl Smith. Fuck that whole entire Smith family. I don't give a fuck. You can keep your comments to yourself, and you can suck a dick. You guys have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you on the next